Okay, let me know in the chat if you can hear. I'm going to do that whole beautiful intro over again. I'm Gory B Movie, and this is Slayer's Club. Slayer's Club is a stream that Laura of Freaky Girls Live, Kweeny Todd, and I do every month. I think we're on episode 4 now? I don't know. There's been a few of these.
Is there a fourth episode?
Yeah, because it's looped back around to me. We rotate this every month. So we do half a season each stream. This month, we are doing the first part of season 3. And over on my channel, my new Gory B Movie channel, spin-off of my former Horror Addicts channel. Ladies, say hi.
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 Now you got me doing it.
Hi.
It was pretty satisfying.
I got everyone going with it, guys. Everybody. Hi, Dave Maggot. Dave Maggot's our watcher.
That's right. He's everybody's watcher. Him and Monty. We can have 2 watchers.
Absolutely. Well, we need one for each of us, like 2 managers.
Yeah, but I have to kill mine, so who's up? Who wants to die?
Shoot up, Monty. You're in
Come
for
on
it.
up. Who wants
You're
to
in for it, brother.
Well, sorry.
I'm really excited to talk about season 3, guys. Super, super excited.
I love season 3. I feel like, for me, season 1 is very episodic, which is easy because you can jump right in, but it's not the strongest season. Season 2 is the season that I think gets you hooked because it's got, like, it really emphasizes everything the show is, where it's horror, it's drama, it's romance, it's comedy. But season 3, I feel like this is the season where we really take these characters and we really get into some serious layers, not just with Buffy, but with everybody. And we also get some new characters that are really exciting.
Lots, yes.
I got a haircut. Totally random. Also, it's my birthday weekend, bitches. I'm older.
Woo! Happy birthday, girl!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to be celebrating my birthday today, too.
I am so happy for you.
And I got a great shirt on. You can, if you can see it, says, and then Buffy staked Edward. The end.
Love it.
So because it's my birthday, I'm going to do a shot.
Okay. Am I the only one who can't see you?
You can't see me unless you watch it on the stream because my...
okay. Got it.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay.
Thank you for that.
All right. I'm going to do a shot. You guys going to do a shot with me? You don't have to.
I got it. Well, I'll do a shot of my co-crew drink.
Actually, this got left out at my birthday party last night, and I just hate to see it go to waste. And it's just been sitting here in this shot glass all night. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I'll just drink. You tell me when you're done.
Oh, balls on fire. Balls on fire. Oh.
Cheers.
I'm hardcore with the cola over here.
Nice. I'm backing this some up with some Angry Orchard.
I can't actually drink alcohol, so that's fine. I got my other vices.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about season 3. Like, where does season 3 rank for you guys? Like, what does season 3 mean to you guys as far as the Buffy storyline?
Go ahead, Queenie. I know this is your fave. It is my fave, and this was the season that brought me in because as you said, there's going to be some new characters introduced, and one of them, she became very powerful for me. Her story and her evolution has become like a really important story for me. You know, you always find those stories out there that resonate with you personally. Mm-hmm. You know, your particular circumstance, like that's what this story is for me. So.
And you're talking about Faith. Faith is a character we're going to talk about here really soon. She is a new Slayer, and if you're wondering, what the fuck? Because you probably don't watch the show, otherwise you would know. What the fuck? Yeah. Buffy is the chosen one. That means uno. That means one. But then we had Kendra, because she died for just a split second. Kendra showed up in season 2, and unfortunately Kendra was killed by Drusilla at the end of season 2. And then Faith was called. And so the way the Vampire Slayer thing works is a lot of girls know from the time that they're born that they have the potential to be a Vampire Slayer. And typically you will get a watcher and they will train you just in case you happen to get called. But you may never be called. You may train your whole life. And that's what Kendra did. She was training. And then she happened to get called, and it was like a big honor in her family, whereas Buffy had no fucking clue. And Faith actually did have a watcher, but her watcher ended up getting killed by a pretty nasty vampire. And so Faith's already
She's got
had
issues.
She's already had a rough go of it. She kind of grew up, she grew up not having a lot of opportunities, not having a lot of the things, a lot of advantages, just kind of having to take care of herself. So Faith is a hard knock.
Absolutely.
I said the best thing to Dave Maggot earlier when I was talking about the difference between Buffy and Faith. I said the difference between Buffy and Faith, what I feel it is that Faith is the older, trash whore, angry sister who has a monster for a father because everyone else abandoned him.
See, I actually feel like Buffy and Faith are two sides of the same coin. And I think in really good fiction, like Joseph Campbell talked about this a lot in when he talked about the hero's journey and such, he said that the best villain is the other, and the other is exactly the hero if they took a different path. So for instance, in a very popular example is Star Wars. Darth Vader is if Luke went to the dark side. They are the same character almost, but they made one very big, different, important choice. The difference between Buffy and Faith is Buffy is, I think because she has her friends and stuff, she is very, she feels the weight of the world on her shoulders. She feels a responsibility to people, but with her calling. Faith is like, I've got powers, I'm going to have fun with it. She says in an episode, she wants something, she gets it. If she wants sex, she gets it. If she wants a weapon, she gets it. She feels no guilt, no responsibility. And that's the biggest difference between them. And Buffy is always tempted to do that, because she puts so much restriction on herself. And it's really, really hard to be that responsible all the time. And we're going to deal with that a lot this season. But what if she didn't? What if she kind of went back to how she was? And I think that's a big part of it too, is she was kind of a person who didn't think about other people, who was, a cheerleader, and then she got this whole vampire slayer thing thrust on her, and then she was like, okay, that's a big wake-up call. I, need to put the world ahead of me. And she's also died. She's had all these things that have changed her to become the person that she is. But what if that had never happened? What if she had had a watcher from birth and, she took all this for granted? So it's interesting how your past shape you, but I feel like at the heart of it, there is something very, very, kindred spirits between them. And I feel like that's why they have an initial really strong bond.
Yeah. They felt like sisters to me.
Yeah.
Mirror sisters.
And you can see that even when they're trying to kill each other, that there is this bond, there is this love, and part of it's because you're a slayer and there are so few of them and they are putting their lives on the line every single fucking day. But there is something very, even different than her and Kendra. I feel like Buffy sees a lot of herself in Faith and vice versa, but it's strange because it's also as much as they are similar, they're so different too.
Yeah.
And their differences are the things that tear them apart. Buffy sees Faith as being selfish and careless, and Faith sees Buffy as having all these things, friends and family and stuff, but those are things Buffy earned, her friends and family stuff. And that's one of the things Faith, she has a hard time with. She wants those things, but she doesn't really know how to get them because she's never really been shown how.
And she doesn't see that vulnerability can be strength.
Yeah.
So she never shows vulnerability.
She would like to have a boyfriend. She tries to steal Angel this season. She would like to have friends, but, she was friends with Buffy and then it got all fucked up. So she doesn't really know, how do you make that work? And sometimes, when you've never been shown a lot of these things, you've never been shown friendship at a young age, you've never been shown kindness at a young age, it's really hard to navigate that stuff when you start to become an adult. I'm a parent, and when I became a parent, I was like, oh crap, I didn't have a lot of good role models in this. How am I going to parent? And I feel like that's how Faith is on trying to have any kind of relationship with anybody else.
Yeah, those were some of the moments when I was watching the show that were very therapeutic for me, because it's I see a lot of myself in Faith. Not as I am now, but when I was younger. Yeah. Because when you are that angry and that broken, you do become a little selfish. You do become sometimes, you cross lines because you know that society deems those lines wrong, No one taught you that. You grew up hard and it's a whole different world. like when you're waking up every day wondering if you're going to get beaten the shit out of, you know, and by who? Could be someone you're related to.
And
you know?
Buffy did have that, though, because, I mean, if you look back at season 1, because we went to season 1, and Buffy was like, hey, I want to go on a date. I'm entitled to these things. I want to go to a dance. I want to think about my future. And unfortunately, Buffy has had this for 3 years now, and she's gone through the process of dying and killing the love of her life. And that has turned her into a very different person. And she's going to continue to be on this path of becoming this great hero. And we're just kind of still getting there. Faith hasn't had that journey yet. Faith is at the very beginning of her journey. And Faith becomes a hero just like Buffy on her own. But her journey is going to be very different. And Faith is just at the start of that right now. But again, like, I think that's why they are so bonded. Because I think Buffy is like, you know, I used to be like that. I used to only think about what is good for me and look out for myself. You know, and Faith just hasn't had those opportunities. And like, she has these people in her life that tell her Faith is bad. You can't trust Faith. She's, you know, dangerous. Yeah. But Buffy always sticks up for her. And I think it's because she sees that good in her.
She wants to keep giving her that chance because she wants that chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's where they can understand each other. They've both been through shit. It's just different kinds of shit.
And they make a lot of comments throughout the series. A lot of the villains make comments, you know, a Slayer with friends, you know, because you're not really supposed to have a social life if you're a Slayer. It makes it complicated. But Buffy, I think that's given her a lot of strength. I think also, you know, not being raised with a Watcher, she's very unpredictable compared to other Slayers. She trusts her gut and her instinct because she wasn't, like, trained like the other Slayers have been. And so she trusts herself, but I think having the friends and stuff is really good for her. I think it's helped her learn that responsibility and to look out for other people. Whereas, you know, Faith, she hasn't had that. And I think Buffy just thinks if she had a good friend, if she had somebody in her life that she could really count on, we could turn her around. And you know what? It's funny because we're not going to see that this season. This season's too early in this journey. But eventually her friendship with Angel does that. Now, I think Buffy wanted it to be her initially. But it's that friendship with Angel that will make her become that hero.
I really love and respect that relationship. It gave me hope. You know, I see hope in Faith because she's like this. She's not so great when you first meet her.
She needed somebody who shared that dark side with her to help her get there, and Buffy doesn't have that. You know, they say that's the one of the other bigger differences. Like, there's a line in season 5 where Giles is going to kill somebody, and he's like, you know, but Buffy wouldn't do, you know, something like, you know, Buffy or like wouldn't do that. Yeah, Buffy would never kill a human being. He's like, because she's, and Giles is like, because she's a hero. She's not like us, and he kills the person. You know, Buffy might be better than that, but Giles isn't. A lot of people aren't. Faith isn't above that. And Angel has been in that place before. And she needs somebody who's been down in the fucking gutter like she has to show her that she can change, that she can be redeemed, and that she can be better.
Yep, absolutely.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you've been so quiet. I'm like, what the frick?
No, totally lost my audio. I have to restart.
Well, we've just been talking about faith.
You know I would never be quiet for that long.
You just gotta have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have faith.
Dun, 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 dun.
Love it.
Okay. Well, we have talked a lot about Buffy. I want to say a quick hi to people in the chat. I see a lot of you here. Hey to Savage Rock and Roll, Lady Dazed, Queen Cujo, Ariel, Brandon Meacham. We got M Zombie Punk. Felix is here. Did I mention Monty? Because Monty's here. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on you guys, but also, like, you know, focus on my ladies so we can have these deep personal conversations about Buffy.
That's right.
So, previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you guys remember, the ending of Season 2 was heartbreaking. If you guys missed that stream, that was over on Laura's channel, and we all had a good cry, and it was awful.
It was moving.
It was really moving.
Buffy had to kill the love of her life, when he wasn't even evil, to save the world.
My heart.
Her mother told her, if you leave this house, to go save the world, because she told her mom that she's a Slayer. Do not come back. Buffy doesn't come back. Willow nearly dies performing the spell that brought Angel's soul back. So she was in the hospital. Willow and Oz also got together. But yeah, at the very end of it, her friends are all at the school waiting for her, thinking that she's going to come back. They're hoping that maybe Angel was cured and they're just spending time together. But we know that's not what happened. And Buffy, she can't deal. She can't deal at all. And she's going to have that, a really selfish moment. Which
I couldn't deal. So
Yeah, really.
I see what her issue was.
Yeah, she can't face them. She can't, she needs time for herself, and she knows that none of them can possibly understand what this would feel like. So she gets on a Greyhound bus and she leaves town and she goes to LA. And that's the last we saw of her. At the end, we also saw that Spike got away and Drusilla got away. We have no idea where the fuck Angel is. I think.
In hell somewhere, sucked up by, what's his name?
Akathla.
Yeah, Akathla, thank you. So, yeah, that's where we start out in season 3.
I like your braids.
Thank you so much. I like your face.
I like your face. In England, we would call those plaits. So if I was still, speaking with the English accent, I would be like, I like your plaits.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I'm bilingual.
I thought it was plates, not plaids.
Plaits.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
The sexy Danny Nightmare is in the chisat.
Hey, baby.
What up, Danny? So let's dive right in. We're going to talk about 12 episodes. 12 episodes of season 3. And the first one we're going to talk about is Anne. Where is my little book thingy that holds my book? Balls on your chin. Damn it. I had a little book holder. No idea where the frick it is. Okay, so to give you a brief synopsis of Anne, Anne is actually Buffy's middle name, Buffy Ann Summers. And when she goes to LA, she takes that as her name. She just calls herself Anne because she don't want to be Buffy right now. And understandable. She works as a waitress. She's got a little shithole apartment. And
the apartment is so sad too.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's lonely. She doesn't have friends. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. She's not doing any slaying. She's just working as a waitress, just trying to buy time. And it does kind of seem like she's kind of maybe thinking about heading home. But then something happens.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And we get a return of a character from season... Was that season 2? Or was that season 1?
Season 2. Yeah, so in Lie to Me, there was a character... what the crap was her name? I look at my notes. Chantriel. So, she... in Lie to Me, that was the episode with Billy Fordham, who was the guy who wanted to become a vampire because he had a brain tumor. And he was spending a lot of time at these vampire clubs where everybody was super into the Twilight type vampire, or Anne Rice type vampire. They're just tortured souls. No, honey, they want to kill you. They are demons. And
this trial is very lost.
Yeah.
She's like a lost soul herself.
She's just trying to find herself, and that's a big part of her journey. And she's grateful to Buffy because, Buffy opened her eyes. She almost got killed. So, she runs into Buffy in LA, and she's homeless, and her and her boyfriend are just trying to feed themselves and get by. They have tattoos on their arms. And then...
she's going by Lily now, isn't she?
Yes, she's going by Lily.
Yeah. Yes. And
she's always got a different name until this episode. Then she finds one that sticks. But the boyfriend goes missing, and when he comes back, he's an old man, but he's recognizable because they have these unique tattoos that they share. So, she goes to Buffy.
Yeah. Hold on. My friend Tony's in the chat, okay?
What up, Tony?
Tony's the one I keep
Major?
telling you guys about, who gave me all the episodes on VHS.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you,
CJ's
Tony.
here, too.
Love you, Tony. Love you.
He's the pusher of Buffy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to totally interrupt that stream of thought. There we are, right? Where were we? Carry on.
So, you guys can jump in anytime. But yeah, they find out that what's happening is there's a demon who's preying on the homeless in LA. He's finding like young people who are lost, who nobody will miss, people who are runaways, where if they've never seen again, people are just going to assume they died of an overdose or they just died on the streets, and they're just going to be forgotten. He's taking these people into like some hell dimension where they essentially spend, in hell, time is different.
Yes.
And so they're spending, you know, a lifetime slaving away, and then when they're old and used up and they can't work anymore, he just spits them back out into the street where they die.
Yep. That guy, and by the way, that guy is super fucking creepy.
Very creepy. He actually makes an appearance on the spin-off show Angel later on. The guy is just creepy. I mean, not the same character, but the same actor.
He seems like a culty, fucked up guy. He plays the role pretty well.
He's skeezy.
Extremely. He's got a way of talking people into going with him.
And Brandon in the chat says the plot reminded him so much of Temple of Doom. I see that, absolutely see that, because, you know, these people are being taken away and they're not becoming, you know, entranced like they were in Temple of Doom, but yeah, they're just being treated just like slave labor. It's a lot like, you know, what stories you hear about like human trafficking and stuff, you know, they're not even being treated like people.
Well, yeah, they go down the line, they make you say, they ask you who you are, and you have to say nobody.
Exactly.
If you don't, this fucked up demon guy's gonna beat your ass.
And it kind of reminds me, it reminds me a lot of what Angel said to Buffy, Angelus said to Buffy when they were sword fighting at the end of season 2. He's like, you know, you take away your friends, your family, what do you have left? And she says, me.
Yeah.
Well, what if you don't have that? What if you are nobody? What if you are forgotten? What if you're somebody who's not missed? And that's kind of what we're dealing with here, is when the only thing you have left is yourself and you lose that too, then what?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what we're talking about.
And I think a lot of people have that experience where, you know, people go out to the big city, it's lonely, they don't know anybody. You know, there's a lot of situations people have that in, you know, in life. You know, I think even like if you go away to college or something, that can happen. But where people just feel lost and they don't know who they are anymore, and they mistake not knowing who they are anymore and being lost as not being a person. And you're still a fucking person. You just need to fucking find yourself. And that's what Buffy kind of discovers in this. She's still Buffy. She's still a badass. She's kind of taken a time out. But it's time to go home. It's time to go be Buffy.
As usual with Buffy, she's trying to avoid the stuff and always comes to find her. So sure enough, Lily comes to her and she's like, alright. She didn't want anything to do with it, but she's like, fuck, I have to. Like, this is my job. This is what I have to do. So yeah, she goes and she gets sucked out in a little hell dimension there.
And I think that's...
And I love it when they go down the line and they're asking everyone who they are, and everyone says nobody, and they get to Buffy, she's like, I'm Buffy!
Yeah, you cannot keep Buffy down for long. And I think what's cool about this episode, and I just love seeing, you know, Buffy's journey to becoming, you know, the hero she becomes. In this, she is so ready to give up on herself because I think she's feeling shitty. She killed the person she loved more than anything. You know, she's dealing with guilt and she's dealing with grief, and I think she kind of hates herself just a little bit. And what pulls herself out of that, I don't think she would do it for herself. I think if she had just been kidnapped, she would just die down there. But it's when somebody else needs help that she's like, okay, I have a calling. If I don't, you know, spank my inner moppet, as Cordelia would say, people are going to die. And that's what pulls her right out.
She does. Buffy's just amazing. And I like that the show doesn't sweep things under the rug. Like, I think a lot of shows could have just went, okay, this happened at the end of, you know, season 2, big deal, whatever. Maybe dealing with it a little bit in the beginning. No, this goes throughout the show. when she did, comes back to haunt her for a long time, which it would in real life, right?
I read a really good article about Buffy the Vampire Slayer when it was still on. It was actually, interestingly enough, published by a priest. And Buffy was getting a lot of hack at the time. People were saying it promoted witchcraft, it promoted Satanism, and this priest was like, actually, no, I'm a Christian pastor, and this show is incredible. And the reason why is because this show has consequences. There are so many shows where people have sex and there's no consequences. You know, there's consequences in this. There are shows where people die and they're just nothing but a number. They're just a body count. When people die, when human beings die on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it means something, and it should mean something, and it always means something. Killing somebody changes you. Losing somebody changes you. And I like that we deal with those consequences in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. They never shy away from talking about it.
Yeah.
She's definitely struggling, that's for sure. And I want to say, I do like, you know, when we're getting the flashes of the Scoobies, they're trying to do some slaying of their own.
Oh my god, they're so cute.
They're so cute. They're trying so hard.
Yeah, William Ellman in the chat from Horror Addicts Anonymous, what up? He says he volunteers at a shelter for the homeless, and that the people there are less than dead in society's eyes. Like, they just don't matter. And I think sometimes we take how the outside world might view us and let that shape how we view us. And I think what this episode tells us, and I like I say, I live by the WWBD, what would Buffy do? What this episode tells you is no matter how worthless the world makes you feel, you matter. And you need to find your self-worth, even if you're the only one who does. Because fuck everybody else. You're important.
Yeah.
And it sucks when we don't have people there to remind us that. But worst case scenario, you need to be the one to do it.
Mm-hmm. You always have yourself.
Yeah, you gotta have your own back. God damn, this show is so fucking good, guys. This show is so fucking good.
It's so good, guys.
So good.
Yeah.
Looking at some notes. Notes. Xander and Cordelia, we see a little bit more of them together, even though they broke up and stuff last time. So, at the end of this episode, they seal the portal to hell. They get rid of Ken. And the episode concludes. I do like Lily at the end. I think it's the end of this episode. Maybe it was later on. But she does ask her, you know, she likes the name Anne. Can she have it? Yeah. And I think it's because she is somebody who is so lost. And she is somebody who forgets to be there for herself. Yep. She forgets to be a friend to herself. She forgets to remind herself that she's worthwhile. And Buffy has shown her that twice now. And I think taking that name is symbolic to her. You know, it's a reminder that she can't lose herself again. She's got to be, you know, she's got to be there for herself so that, you know, hopefully then she can do something good with her life. You know, your life is important.
Yeah.
And she does.
Buffy, giving her the name tag is, you know,
which was
for
great.
Buffy saying goodbye to that crazy, you know, few months that she had spent.
I'll give you a little preview. It's not the last we're going to see of Anne. We're going to see a little bit more of Anne on this show, but we're going to see her a lot more on Angel, which we will eventually talk about. But this episode really shapes who Anne is. She ends up becoming somebody who works in a homeless shelter and looks out for the kind of kids just like she used to be. So,
yes.
Part of her journey. And then... And then at the end of the episode, we see that Buffy does return home and she hugs her mom. And I think that's another really important thing here because, you know, another thing with the show for me personally is I am the exact same age as the character Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not the actress, but the character. So, you know, when she's in high school, I was in high school. When she's in college, I was in college. We are the same age. And I think when you're a teenager and you fight with your parents and your parents say something awful, you know, like, you know, or not even just your parents, you know, anybody you love are going to say some fucked up shit to you, you know? Sometimes your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, your best friend, they're going to be like, you know what? I fucking hate you. And even though that really hurts, we have to forgive them. We have to understand that people say shit that they don't mean. You have to know the difference. You know, when somebody's just reacting out of anger or hurt or fear. I think with Joyce, it was mostly fear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, you know, just realize that relation's more important. I like that Buffy does that with her mom. Like, you know, she's just hugging her mom. There's no big talk. Like, she just needs to hug her mom. Her mother loves her.
Yeah, she really did. It was cute. It was precious.
I love Joyce, dude. Joyce is great.
She's the mom
Joyce,
you want to have.
Joyce has some wonderful moments in this season.
And they don't give her a whole lot of screen time, but what they do give her is really valuable. Like, you know, she's always trying to understand Buffy. She's always trying to be there for Buffy. She's working, you know, as a single mom, trying to run this art gallery, but she's also still trying to do her own thing. Like, she tries to have friends and she tries to date. And
that doesn't end well.
it really doesn't, but I like that she always gets back up on that horse. Like, you know, she doesn't let herself get knocked down for too long.
No, she does good. Which brings us to the next episode.
Dead Man's Party, which is named after the Oingo Boingo song, which I believe is actually, they played that song in this episode.
It's the hour of the wolf and I don't want to die.
Oingo Boingo, children, was a band back in the day when we still used stone tablets in school and we had dinosaurs carrying out most of our menial tasks. It's a living.
It's love it.
Those were good times.
I know, right?
So this one, does anyone else want to? I feel like I'm taking over a lot.
No,
I love some Buffy, but Dead Man's Party.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to jump in and talk about what this one's about?
Well, speaking of Joyce making friends, she's got a little buddy. And, well, she's from the art gallery, correct?
Yeah.
And she has it's all centering around this Nigerian mask that turns out to be, you know, an evil mask. But,
it's always a fucking evil mask. I love, it reminds me of that movie, You Might Be the Killer, where she's like, well, what kind of mask is it? And it's a creepy mask, and he, like, describes it. He's like, well, it's not that creepy, and she's like, that's a fucking creepy mask. This is a fucking creepy mask in this episode. Like, you don't put that shit on.
Mm-mm. Oh, no. That's such a bad idea. This episode, that's kind of, I don't know, that's the kind of the background of this episode, really.
It's the full bottom. It sets up.
We're dealing with all the Scoobies and Giles and everyone, how they feel about Buffy coming back all of a sudden. And they're basically avoiding the topic. And to further avoid it, they throw her a huge bash at Joyce's house, which is funny because why is Joyce allowing this in her home? And Joyce is drinking schnapps with her buddy, which is hilarious. Yeah, and everyone's trying. Willow acts like she can't hear her. They're trying not to have this conversation with Buffy. They were hurt, and it all comes out at the end of this episode, which I hate because I think everyone was really rude about the whole situation.
Yeah, that was rude.
Especially Xander. Xander's
always rude though. Fuck him.
He's such an asshole.
It goes back to what we were saying about consequences, though. Like, I think the point of this episode, even though I agree with you guys, like, I think her friends are really unfair. And I think in my world, I would be like, she gets a pass. And I do think they're trying to do that. But they also have these really strong feelings because they love her. You know, she's their family. But it goes back to consequences. Like, you can pick up and you can run away from your problems. But when you go back, your problems are right there waiting for you. I think that's kind of what this was about. She can't just go back and pretend everything's normal. They have had to move on without her. You know, her mom got new friends. She can't expect them to be on pause while she was gone dealing with her stuff. They are, you know, human, and they're going to try and cope and stuff the best they can. They've been trying to kill monsters unsuccessfully, you know, all summer without her. They really needed her, and they didn't know where she was. She didn't leave a note. She didn't give them any peace of mind. I think that's a big part of where the anger comes from, because they had no idea if she was alive or dead. They didn't know if they should be grieving, or, you know, I think if she had at least left a note or something saying, hey, I need space, I'll be back when I'm ready, it would have been easier. But yeah, I can imagine.
Like, Giles spends the summer, essentially, going around the country looking for Buffy.
Yep.
Yeah, they all have tried to look for her and stuff, and she gave them no peace of mind. She just left them hanging, and I think that's where the anger comes from. It's not so much that, oh, you left me, it's that you didn't even let us know if you were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give them that. She could have done that, but I just hate Xander in this episode. There's so many episodes where, like, I'm so, like, love-hate with him.
I agree.
Same here.
He's just such a dick sometimes.
And from their point of view, like, they don't know that Angel wasn't cured and that she didn't just go off to Jamaica. Well, probably not a good place for vampire to vacation. But they don't know that she's not just off, you know, gallivanting around the world with Angel and just, you know, enjoying having him back. So they don't know if they should be angry because she's just being insensitive or if she's lost him. Like, you know, I think that's where it comes from. I still think she gets a pass. And I think that's why they're not talking to her, because they don't feel like they have the right to be angry, but they are angry. You know, but they're also really relieved to have her back, but they're also, it's just, they have so many conflicting emotions, and they're very afraid of pushing her away.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to confront her because they don't want her to just leave again. And at one point, she does almost leave again.
She does! Willow catches her package. She's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I mean, she doesn't say that, but she's like, really?
And, of course, I think that the worst thing they do, so... Yeah, the whole thing is there's a mask, and the mask brings things back to life, like dead pets and other dead things. And it's kind of a Night of the Living Dead situation. But the whole thing is they're having a party, like a welcome back party, and they're kind of like using this party, like, oh, I can't hear you, like to avoid having the talk with Buffy. Where were you? What happened? Why didn't you say anything to me? Like, they're avoiding it. And, yeah, I feel like I was going to say something.
They have to get it out at the end, and they do.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was cathartic for everyone.
Kind of like avoiding, I guess, those big talks, you know, avoiding the feels.
Yeah. And this whole season is so like this, like...
Oh, so many feels.
It's just, there's a lot of background stuff going on, but it's so much about the characters. Like,
my arms are too small. I can't hold them all. All the feels.
Oh, there's too many. Yeah. So yes, clearly, you know, monster defeated. The monster behind the mask, the crazy gallery lady, and whatnot. Can I say something from this episode that I just loved at the beginning when Buffy was leaving the house? I don't remember where she said she was going. Joyce is like, will you be slaying?
Yes.
It's the way she's done.
And she's trying.
She's trying to get really behind, you know, like
she's trying to like be the supportive mom, and she's trying. I think that's the other thing too. When you try too hard to seem like you're okay for somebody else, sometimes it's like you're bottling up all this resentment, and then it comes out at the worst fucking time.
Yeah. So true. But we get past it. Okay, everyone's feeling a lot better after this episode.
They work through it, yeah.
So, Kweeny, I'm sure you want to talk about the next episode. It's called Faith, Hope, and Trick.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, I'm really rusty right now with my Buffy stuff. Like, I know this is the season. Like, I remember certain key points. But I don't know if I can, like, regurgitate the episode. But I know this is the first time we see Faith. Like, this is the first time she comes into play. And Buffy has to face her mirror. It's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. But yeah, it's really cool.
Well,
and, like, right off the bat, I love Faith. Like, the moment she opened her mouth. Because she has the best lines. She has the best.
Her first line, I believe, is, I'm Faith. Because they see her just, like, kicking ass.
Oh, yeah.
And then I believe Xander says, looks like there's a new Slayer in town.
Which isn't surprising when you think about, like, what happened last season. So, you're like, oh, of course another Slayer was activated. You just didn't expect Faith. Nobody expects Faith.
No.
So in this episode, Buffy's also kind of she's really, I feel like Buffy pushes herself too hard sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a boy, Scott Hope, at school who's kind of into her, and he seems nice, and I think he seems safe, and she's trying to flirt and stuff, but obviously she is not ready. And
really bad.
I feel really bad for her because she's trying to be okay, because she's had to deal with things that you shouldn't have to deal with when you're that age. You shouldn't have to kill your first love and send him to hell.
Right.
But
especially when he's that.
yeah, and she's trying to be a normal teenage girl, like normal teenage girls find, new boys to flirt with and stuff, but it's not working. And then the bigger thing, there is a new vampire in town. Now we know from the Master, the really, really old vampires in Buffy, they kind of, they look less human. They take on sort of an animalistic look. Like the Master had kind of a bat face. He looked kind of like but he's very bat-like.
This guy has cloven hooves.
This guy has like a, kind of almost like a cat type look to him. He's more feline. And he has cloven hooves, and yeah, he's very animal. And his name's Kakistos. And he comes in with a vampire named Trick, hence the Faith Hope Trick. And the hope is for Scott Hope, the boy that Buffy's flirting with. It all comes together, guys. It all makes sense. And they've come to town, and Faith has followed them because Kakistos is the vampire that killed her watcher right in front of her.
Right. However, when she talks to everyone about being there, she says her watcher's on the retreat. This watcher's retreat.
Because Faith
doesn't know.
Yeah.
And which leads to a whole funny thing with Giles being like so disappointed that he wasn't invited.
Yeah, which nerd?
Absolutely, it makes no sense because he's literally the watcher of the active Slayer.
I love how
I
love what Tony Major said in the chat, kissing toast. Remember when they say that in the episode?
Yes. Kissing toast? He said something about kissing toast. Good times. But yeah, also, there's kind of a lot going on in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Giles keeps asking Buffy about what happened when she had to kill Angel. He's saying that he's working on a binding spell, and he needs more information from her. And she's not giving him all the information.
Yeah.
Eventually, towards the end of the episode, she finally tells him he was cured.
Which is the hardest part of that. And I think we're dealing with a lot of trust issues in this episode, too. Like, a lot of the issues we have with Faith is that she doesn't trust people. And honestly, if Faith trusted the people who want to be there for her more, she would avoid so much misery. But she can't.
That's part of her problem.
That's
how
her
could you trust
big hurdle. And Buffy, like in this episode, has the same kind of thing. It's hard, I think, when these characters have to deal with things that their friends can't possibly wrap their heads around. They haven't had to send a loved one to hell. And that's why I think Buffy's reluctant to talk to, like, Giles or her friends about what happened. She doesn't think they can deal, and she doesn't want to put it on them. But she is able to, at the end of this, go, okay, these people care about me. I need to trust them. They need to know what's going on. And it's up to them to try and figure it out. It's not up to me. It's just up to me to be honest with them and let them in. And Faith can't do that. And it's an ongoing struggle with her. And it leads her into so many, like, awful situations.
Yeah, it's and Giles too. You can just see like the pain on Giles's face when she tells him that.
Well, yeah, because she's like his daughter.
He's so sweet.
Giles is like the dad I wish I had.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's amazing.
Oh, he's amazing. I want to watch her like that.
I just want him to be my dad. I just love him.
He's so good. He's so good.
We also say that the Slayers have very different fighting styles. She likes Faith a lot because, Faith clearly has had to deal with some shit, But Faith, it doesn't seem to get to her. It's because Faith bottles that shit up. You know, Buffy wears her heart on her sleeve. When she's in pain, we see it, and it's awful. You know, but Faith is really good at being like, oh, I'm 5 by 5, you know? She's burying that shit. It is there, though.
5 by 5. That's a good episode.
But I think Buffy is kind of attracted to that. Like, she wishes she could be more like that. And she's like, okay, well, maybe she knows something I don't. And, you know, she's trying to, like, watch her, but she also recognizes that Faith has... Faith's way of doing things is dangerous. Yeah. Faith, when she slays, she's like an animal. She doesn't think. She runs purely on instinct. Like, all the things that have made Buffy really strong. A lot of commentary has been that, you know, Buffy trusts her instinct. She trusts her gut. She is a bit of a wild card. She improvises. Faith does that to like an 11. And it's a little too much because it makes her sloppy and careless.
It's overkill. Like, she could just kill them, but she's beating their asses instead.
Like, Buffy's like, we're gonna, in one episode, she's like, we're gonna go in on the count of 3. And Faith just goes in, and she's like, what happened to the count of 3? That was the plan. And, you know, Faith's like, oh, I don't need plans, whatever. She's like, count of 3? That's like Sesame Street. That's not a plan. You can do a count of 3.
Oh, shit.
And this is big foreshadowing because these two things, not trusting people and being very impulsive and not having any kind of foresight, is really going to get Faith into some really awful, awful situations.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah.
And, of course,
Mr. Trick... Faith is hot. You're right. I agree.
Mr. Trick and Kakistos are, of course, planning to kill the Slayers, which, you know, how that goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously Faith is also dealing with the fact that I think Kakistos is obviously, we get it because we saw how Buffy was with the Master. The Kakistos is Faith's the Master. She saw, her Watcher was a parent figure to her. It's somebody who looked out for her, that she cared about, and she saw that person killed right in front of her. And so
she couldn't do anything.
She's got like blind fury when it comes to this Kakistos guy. So as much as she is kind of in a frenzy and she's impulsive all the time, it's worse with this guy. He is to her like the Master was to Buffy. Like, he has a power over her that other vampires just don't have. Like how the Master was able to, you know, make Buffy feel weak and vulnerable and like she wasn't ready, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Do we... No, maybe we don't. I do want to bring some... This is, like, kind of off topic and just, like, a weird little side thing.
Is it about Buffy?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
About this episode, so it's okay. There's, like, there's a little low-key slut-shaming going on in this episode.
There really is. There is.
And
talk about it.
Xander calls someone a slut, and Cordelia calls Faith like Slutorama or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the way she's dressed and the way she's dancing. And Faith
love the way Faith dances.
Very in touch with her sexuality. She talks about how slaying makes her horny, and everyone looks at Buffy, they're like, really?
Don't you just want to get a good,
She's like, it makes me really hungry and horny, right?
Yeah. I actually used to say the same thing after roller derby practice. Roller derby practice is the same thing. Makes you hungry and horny.
Mm-hmm. It was really funny. Anyways, there's a little bit of
I like that. I like that about Faith. I like that she doesn't have any shame about you know, sex, about how she, you know, I think you should dance like nobody's watching. I think, you know, sex, so long as you're careful and you're not hurting anybody, it shouldn't matter how many people you sleep with or how you dress.
No, I agree. Well, yeah, that was just like that was a side note.
It's like it goes into a lot of like what we expect of women and stuff, and how women are supposed to behave, and I like that Faith kind of flies in the face of that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Tony said Faith wrestles alligators naked. Her tales that she's telling her, of course, Scoobies are so enamored by her. Stories were pretty funny, and everyone loved them.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Scott Hope in this episode. What was he thinking giving her jewelry? They haven't even gone on a date yet. And he's buying her jewelry? Come on.
It's just too much. It's way too much for her. Like, she just needed a nice rebound guy, honestly.
And of course, what is the jewelry that he gives her? Gory.
Tell him, dude.
You have one.
I know, it's a clatter ring.
Yeah. And of course, there goes Buffy.
Which I found mine, by the way.
You freaked out. Oh, thank God. So yeah, she freaks out. She's like, I can't.
And do you blame her?
She can't. Fuck no. First of all, I'd be like, no, bro, I don't want jewelry. We're not even together. Like, this
Xander
is
did
weird.
the same thing. Like, the second time he saw her, he gave her a bracelet that said, like, you know, always or some shit.
Xander's such an asshole.
He really is.
He is. So, anyway, I mean, I guess they just needed her to have the ring, okay? They needed something to put her back in this mindset. So she goes back to the crypty mansion, whatever it... What is it, a crypt? He lives in a crypt, right?
They call it the mansion, but it's very crypt-like. It's
Yes.
overgrown. It's not cared for. It's like an abandoned... It's like a haunted mansion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not haunted, but it has that aesthetic.
Yeah. So yeah, Buffy goes in there with the ring.
And I think that ring...
When we get the sad Buffy and Angel theme playing, it's super sad. Oh, don't make me cry. So anyways, yeah. She grabs it, she leaves, she's like, okay. You're like, yes, Buffy's like, she's really ready to move on now.
She's got a guy who wants to date her, she's ready to...
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens? Naked Angel drops from the sky, which is like the
sexy naked.
what I ask for every year for Christmas and I never get.
Aww.
I know, you gotta drop that ring, girl.
I'll go get it.
So Angel's back, guys. Woo!
And he's
Oh my
naked.
God.
Naked.
Naked. So yeah, I think, I mean, you guys have anything else to add to that episode?
There is a little bit of the beginning of the rivalry between Buffy and Faith here.
Yeah.
She does like Faith a lot, but she's very threatened by how well her friends get along with Faith. Like, Xander thinks she's super cool and loves her stories. Willow thinks she's cool. Giles is fascinated by everything she has to say. And then she's like, look, she's even getting along with my fries.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she just got her friends and family back, and now she feels like they could potentially be taken away from her.
Yeah.
But at least she does have Cordelia, who also is pissed.
You know what the funny thing is about
Xander's in love.
But the funny thing about this is that, Buffy can't see that Faith is doing it right back at her. That she's jealous of Buffy and what all Buffy has.
Because Faith is
right
covering
away.
all that up. Faith is like, acts like
Yeah.
she's completely fine. But
She
we
never
know
feels her shit. She just pushes it
later
away.
on that Faith is very jealous of the fact that she has friends and stuff. And the thing is, too, the things that are making them like her, a lot of her stories are bullshit.
Nope.
Her facade, her confidence, it's all kind of bullshit, you know. And I think that's why Faith doesn't see, oh, hey, I've got friends, you know, things are going to be okay, because she doesn't think they really like her, because they just like this idea of her, the idea of this confident, badass girl, but they don't know anything about her, and so that's why I think Faith has a hard time letting people in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Brandon Meacham says, in regards to Angel dropping from the sky naked, did he travel back in time from the war against Skynet? Probably.
Perhaps.
I love that both Buffy and Faith are on these redemption arcs. They're very different kinds of redemption, but they both want redemption. Like, it's one thing. And they kind of see that in each other at first. Like,
That's what makes me so sad, because at a certain point in this season, their relationship is going to become irreparably harmed.
Yeah.
And they never become friends again. They always are going to be enemies, which is really, because
They
eventually
respect each other, but they never.
eventually Faith gets to the point where she is a bona fide hero, but
Yeah.
Buffy will never ever trust her or let her in. And it really breaks my heart, because they understand each other in a way other people can't understand them. And like I said, they are two sides of the same coin, you know?
Yeah.
But I think also Buffy's afraid of Faith, because to her, Faith is an example of, if I just gave in, if I just stopped putting the world first, and I, went back to putting my needs first, that's what I could become. I could become a really bad person, know? And I think she's afraid of that. And I think being friends with her makes her afraid of becoming like that.
Because I think Faith is a bit psychotic. At least when
she is.
Like,
totes.
Just a little bit psychotic. Like, just kind of will fly off the handle at any given time.
But Buffy...
fist in the face, you don't know. Like...
Buffy doesn't see that, because Buffy, understands, initially when things do go bad, she understands why they happened, and so she just thinks, I've got to, be responsible, because that could be me. And it really couldn't be her. But that's how Buffy thinks.
Right.
She's very responsible.
The rogue slayer. She's not.
But she's had to train herself to be. And that's why I think, she thinks that could be me. Because that used to be me. Yeah. But it's that whole with great power comes great responsibility thing. It's okay to be selfish and closed-minded and stuff when you're a bubble-headed cheerleader in high school. But when you have a calling, when you have the world depending on you, you can't really do that.
That's right.
And so now she knows she has to be better than that. And so she puts a lot of responsibility on herself. She's really hard on herself.
Yeah, but that's what makes her a responsible adult about these things.
That's what makes her such an amazing Slayer. Let's be honest.
What makes her an amazing hero?
She's not an adult, man. She's adulting hard. She adults harder in high school than I do today in my life.
And again, I've said this a lot of times, on these streams before, but we have a lot of heroes like that in other shows where they do the right thing, they rise up. But I love that this show, Buffy doesn't always do the right thing. She fails hard. She has to deal with the consequences. She doesn't always get it right the first time, but she always tries. And Buffy, even though she does continually, win the fight against evil, so to speak, she never becomes emotionally hard. She doesn't ever become hard. She doesn't let it change her. She still wears her heart on her sleeve. And I think seeing how vulnerable she is emotionally is what makes it to where we can still relate to her. I don't know what it's like to be super strong or to have all these powers or this calling, but seeing how she reacts to things emotionally, it's like, okay, I get this character.
Yeah, I can totally understand Faith's side of that, or looking at Buffy being vulnerable like that and going, "What the fuck?"
And
because Faith is hard. Faith is hard.
From a writer's standpoint, they made the right choice here, because say for instance Buffy did that. Say Buffy was still Buffy, but she decided for the sake of her friends she was going to put on a front and act like everything's fine and be confident and cool. We would hate her as an audience. She would seem too perfect. We wouldn't be able to relate to her. She'd be like a Mary Sue type character, even though she's bottling everything up. I mean, there are characters who are the leads. I think Dean on Supernatural is a lot like that. But even he cracks enough that we see that vulnerability, and we need that to relate to these kind of characters. You know? Faith can do it because Faith fucks up so hard that we still know that even though she has all these powers and stuff and she seems cool, she's not perfect. We don't have that Superman character here where they have these powers and they're perfect and they're perfectly nice and they always do the right thing. These are not those kind of heroes. Everybody in the show is flawed and layered and complicated.
Yeah. Everybody fucks up at what point or
some more than others.
I'll be back in 1 sec. You guys can move on if you want to the next
if we want to.
I mean, whatever. Yeah. Faith is my darling.
Looking at talk about what Faith means to you for a little bit while we wait for her.
Sure. So I love Buffy as the hero and all that. She's that nuanced hero, which is a nice.
I feel like I've been helping you love Buffy more. So I feel like you didn't necessarily in the beginning.
But I've always been on Faith's side. I'm always Team Faith, right? Because
I also think you and I are unsuperhero versions of Buffy and Faith.
Yeah, or like the boring, mundane versions where I'm like, like a decrepit old man in the corner. Anyway. But, like, I like Buffy's, or Faith's story, I can relate to because, like, Buffy, while she's had some really hard shit happen to her, she also has all this love and family and all that, and it does change you. It does help you stay vulnerable to know that you have people who love you and want to have the best for you, right? But if you're someone like Faith who's had just so much hard shit smacking her over the head over and over again throughout her life, it's made her hard. It's made her nasty at times.
And I think that's why Buffy is tries so hard to get through to her. She thinks that she just had a friend.
One person. Yeah.
You know?
And you don't, it's not your responsibility to fix someone, you know?
Mm-mm.
Like,
but she makes it her responsibility.
Like, I do see a mirror of myself in Faith because, like, when she was young, she was old. You know what I mean? Like, she just had to be, to live, to survive. Many times over, she should have been dead. But she's still here, so she's just going to be bitter and angry and carry all this anger. And you do for a while. You just carry all this shit inside you because, you know,
see,
you didn't ask for the life you had.
I had that kind of childhood, too, where, you know, I didn't have money. I had an abusive childhood. I didn't have it easy at all. But for me, I mean, I guess my way of, like, looking at it, to me, Faith, the way Faith is, because I was like that. I was like that in high school. I was a goth kid. I went, especially in my early 20s, I was really hard. I had, like, a big out of shell. And one thing I got really tired of people telling me, people would meet me, and then they'd get to know me, and they'd be like, oh, you're nice. You know, when I first met you, I thought you were so mean. And I'm like, I'm not mean. It's just because I was closed off. I didn't smile at people. I wasn't welcoming or warm to people. And so people were intimidated by me, which I know to you guys now, that probably sounds like the stupidest fucking thing ever. But I didn't seem nice, even though I was still the same person. I just had these walls up and I wasn't welcoming people in. And I got really tired of people telling me that, of people saying, I didn't think you liked me, or I didn't think you were nice, or you were kind of scary, or you were intimidating. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
I didn't like being, people thought I was intense. And I realized that by being like that, I was wearing all of that abuse, all of that hurt. I was wearing that as a shield. And so people saw me and they're like, oh, there's a person who's seen some shit. And I got really tired of that. You know, Buffy has seen a lot of shit. Buffy has lost so many people. She has gone through so much. But to look at Buffy on a normal day when things are good, you wouldn't know that. She doesn't hang on to that pain. You know, she tries to be above. And that's why, like I said, Buffy is my hero. Because I don't want people to look at me and see my past. I want them to see me. And it took me a really long time to get to that place where I could put down that shield and be like, this is who I am. You know, I'm a nice person. I can be funny and still have a crappy past. You know, I can be loving and fun and I can do all these things. That doesn't get to define who the fuck I am. You know?
And Buffy teaches Faith a lesson that takes a while for Faith to learn it, but she does eventually learn it with the help of Angel. Like, she learns why Buffy was strong, what made Buffy carry on despite everything, because she starts becoming a hero. She decides to take that road. You know?
And with Buffy, I feel like a lot of it is her friends, and it definitely, when we get to season 5, her sister. She can't be that, because she has somebody who needs her to be her best. And I think for me, that was the big turning point. I had my son when I was 23, and honestly, I think that was what really changed it for me. I'd been really selfish, I'd been really stupid, I was pregnant, and I'm just like, holy shit, I need to do something more. I need to go to college. I need to change things. I need to figure myself out. And I don't want my kid to see me like that. You know, I would rather be seen as wacky and silly than cold and hard. And that for me, that changed it. But I think Buffy sees that and she thinks if Faith just had that person, like for me, my son, for her sister, she could be saved.
The thing is, like, we'll learn later that Faith for a minute does kind of have it, but it's not what it seems.
Exactly.
Like, she gets finally treated with love and respect, and when I'm watching that relationship with the mayor build, I'm just like, this is so fascinating, because this is what it's like to love a monster. You know, Faith
Yeah.
loves a monster, and the monster loves her. Like,
That's
the
what
weird
gets
thing.
really-
It's like Cthulhu loving you.
talking about-
that's like the epitome of like a toxic fucking relationship.
Yeah.
The mirror.
And it fucks up Faith even more. It sets her back because the truth
Yeah,
is always
yeah.
the past.
Yep.
Like,
I feel like
one person
whenever
starts
Faith
loving
lets
you.
someone in, it bites her in the ass. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
she let her first watcher in, and then she had to see that person killed.
Yep. Yep, it's terrible. Like, I love you, Faith. It's okay, honey.
And even Buffy, I would say, is probably the second love of her life. She loves Buffy.
Mhm.
But what they go through this season really fucks her up.
Ooh,
And it takes her a really long time, and in this respect, I think, you know, Faith is actually the better person, because Faith does eventually get to a point where she forgives Buffy. And she can still love Buffy and be there for Buffy. Buffy never gets to that place. She never, ever lets her in again after this season.
No.
It fucking sucks.
Oh.
But we're going to get really into that in season 4, because there's a great episode in season 4.
There's so much. There's so much, you guys. We should probably move on to episode 4.
Yes, Beauty and
Because
the Beast. Which
It is like 10:30 and we're only on episode.
I'm sorry.
We're so bad. We'll
So,
be here.
This
We'll
one's
be here all night, guys.
this one's kind of a break. You know, we get those episodic ones where they're kind of a break from the big arc. This one's Beauty and the Beast. The long story short is they have a friend at school who they realize is being beaten by her boyfriend.
Oh, Pete
And
Daddy.
yeah, Pete, her boyfriend, is taking something that basically is like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, and when it changes him, he gets violent.
Yes.
So who wants to talk about that?
Kweeny does.
Not talking to him
Because
about.
we got werewolves in this episode. Well,
Oh, is this the one where we get more Oz love?
yeah.
All around.
This is the one where
Yeah, because Debbie is Oz's friend.
that one turns up dead and Angel's on the loose.
Oh, Angel.
Which, by the way, we find Angel's feral. He's like an animal.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have 3 very animalistic men on the loose, and there's
Yes.
dead bodies coming, and
We
there's people
sure
being
do.
hurt, and we don't know who it is. Is it Pete, who's
Yeah.
taking this Jekyll and Hyde shit that makes him crazy? Is it Oz, who has no control over himself as a werewolf? Or is it
Already a
Angel,
werewolf.
who
Well,
is
it's-
newly returned from hell and completely feral?
And Oz got out of his cage.
Mhm.
He doesn't even know if he killed someone.
Yeah, he has no
It's
memory
so
of what he
fucking-
does.
Xander fucking falls asleep on the clock.
Fuck you, Xander.
Fucking Xander. So, yeah.
And
they're like-
Faith has a line about it in this where she says, you know, essentially all men are beasts. At the end of the day, they're all in it for the chase. And I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
what
kind of the
yeah.
theme here is that you know, that men are beasts. That you know, there's
Yeah.
a bestial nature to men, which
Mhm.
you know, I think that's very subjective. You can argue with it, but what do you guys think?
that they're all beasts.
My husband's a beast. I don't know.
I think all women are beasts, too. How about all humans are beasts?
I think humans
I live with a
are.
bear, so.
I would say it's more humans, but this episode is very much like talking about the men's side of it.
Yeah. In my opinion, I don't think a man is any more a beast than a woman or
I agree.
any other
I
gender.
just like beasts. Is that okay? Can I just? I just like
You
beasts.
are the Queenie Bees.
Yep. And my dad.
Yeah. I don't have any issue.
I guess the one
With
difference with it would be, like, looking back at the episode The Pack from season 1, when Xander started exhibiting very bestial tendencies, what was Giles' response? Oh, he's a teenage boy. I guess the
Yeah.
difference is when men behave bestially, there is that kind of, well, they're guys.
Boys will be boys.
They get a pass,
Mhm.
you know, for doing things that are not humane.
Right. I agree.
So in that respect, I would say there is a difference because women is just like, why are you being a mega bitch? You know?
Right.
And as usual, Buffy takes these kind of metaphors and they're just literal. They're literally showing they're actual beasts.
And there's also a bit of that, you know, when a bit of that talk on abusive relationships. Debbie, even though Pete is beating the shit out of her, she's like, well, he's not always like that. It's not his fault. It's the drug, you know, and it doesn't end well for Debbie. But it makes her weak. It makes her really kind of pathetic, and she's not seeing clearly at all. He completely runs her life. She can't have friends. She can't do anything. He's so controlling. And she doesn't see that. She just sees, well, he hits me sometimes, but he can't control it. But he's abusive in so many other ways than just the violence.
Oh, yeah. This guy sucks.
He sucks bad.
It's not a drug. Dead. I just feel like the person they cast for this girl, I feel like she looks like she's 40 years old.
I see that.
It really takes me out of it because she looks so old and not like a teenage girl. I don't know. It takes me out of the whole thing. It's weird for me.
I think there's also something in this episode because there's the whole, you know, men are beasts thing, right? And I think Pete is such an obvious example of somebody who's acting very inhumane, who's abusive, who's being feral in a way that's destructive. And obviously we know as the audience that Debbie needs to get the fuck away from him before something horrible happens. And something does happen, you know, does not end well for Debbie. And then we have to take that and we use it to look at Oz. It's like, okay, well, what's different about Oz? Oz has no control over himself as a wolf. Do we need him to get away from Willow? Right now, Angel has no control over himself, but Buffy does try to help him. So what's the difference? Why do we still root for Oz and Angel and not Pete?
He's a piece of shit.
Piece of shit.
For me, I think the difference is that Pete cares about what Pete wants. Pete is jealous, therefore Debbie needs to not talk to Oz.
Yeah,
Pete is insecure, so Debbie needs to do things to make him feel better. Oz does not try to change Willow's life to deal with his issues. He has a lot of things he's afraid of about himself, but his first instinct is to protect Willow. When he finds that he got out of his cage, he's horrified, you know, because he has that sense of, you know, he needs to keep himself in check. Like, he recognizes that he's dangerous. Pete does not. Pete sees himself as the victim, and I think when we see ourselves as the victim, that makes us very dangerous because we don't see how we can be destructive, because how can we be? We're the victim. You know, I think when people who are monsters victimize themselves, they become the worst kind of monsters.
Yeah.
And we don't see that with Angel either. I mean, even when he's feral, Angel is still not doing the things that a lot of people in that situation would do. He's not hurting people. He's very animalistic, but he's still Angel. You know, he would still never.
If he was jealous.
He would, jealous.
No, he guys, he's a really hot feral vampire.
He would still never lay.
Jealous.
Yeah, he's not.
No.
And that's one of the things Buffy's worried about too.
Could you imagine if he was like that and then bestial as well, like Angelus bestial?
And that's the thing. Like, even I think that's why I love Angel, because there's a lot of talk, we're going to get into this later, the whole, you know, Buffy and Spike or Buffy and Angel, even at his worst, which I'd say this is one of his lowest points, even feral, even after Buffy sent him to fucking hell, Angel would never lay a hand on that girl.
Nope.
No.
He would die before he'd hurt her. Spike, who everyone loves to ship, tried to rape her.
Yeah.
Angel would die before he'd hurt her.
That is a whole different story.
Yep.
Yeah.
When we get to that, that's going to be...
We're going to have some talks, but I think that is why we root for Angel. That's why we root for Oz, but we do not root for Pete.
No.
Because Pete victimizes himself. Pete hurts Debbie and feels bad for himself. Like, that whole, this hurts me more than it hurts you. Look what you made me do. And being somebody who's known abusers and knows that that's how they see themselves, that they see themselves as the victim, you made them do it. You know, I was fucked up in the head for the longest time because of my dad, because he got me convinced that if I was less mouthy, if I was less opinionated, if I was more well-behaved, he wouldn't have to do these horrible things to me. And it fucked with my head. I thought that was true. And then I realized when I had a kid of my own, no! When you love your kid, no amount of them being an asshat makes you put a hand on them. My son has driven me up the wall and back. I've never laid a hand on him, and I never will.
Exactly.
When you love people, you don't hurt them. And that's, I think, the moral of this episode. Anybody who loves you is not going to hurt you. Not like that.
And Angel proves that he would sooner die than hurt her.
I know. I love Angel so much.
We'll talk about that episode later, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited because I feel like we're both Team Angel, Laura.
What?
I feel like we're both Team Angel.
I'm obsessed.
Good.
I'm obsessed with Dave Boreanaz.
I would sooner see Buffy end up with Faith than Spike. I like Spike. I think he's a very cool, complicated character.
We cannot even do this right now. We gotta save that for season
5. Let's move on to Homecoming, bitches.
Let's move on.
This episode is hilarious. This is a much-needed break of levity in this series. So far, we have dealt with so much shit. We have dealt with so much shit. We have dealt with some big, heavy shit. Are you eating a giant sausage that looks like a dong, Queenie?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I have so much sausage envy right now.
Carry on.
Kind of distracting.
Yeah, this one's cute because Buffy decides she's gonna be a regular teenager.
It never works out when she tries to be a regular teenager.
But she tries, and she's gonna run against Cordelia for homecoming.
She's got pluck, that buff.
So funny. I love it. She cracks me up.
Yeah, so we know Buffy, before she was called to be a Slayer, was a cheerleader. She was the Mayflower Queen. She was pretty and popular, and she didn't have a care in the world. And when she is feeling, when she is putting herself first, she thinks that that's what she needs to put herself for. That's how she needs to take care of herself. She needs to go on a date and stuff. She kind of reverts back to, well, what made me happy before? And when she gets disappointed because it doesn't make her happy now, but it's because she's a different person now. What's going to make her happy now is different. But when she's feeling the most vulnerable, she reverts back to this stuff. And in this episode, what she thinks is going to fix everything is running for fucking Homecoming Queen. She also has a rivalry with Cordelia, who I think she also sees herself in. She thinks Cordelia is maybe who she could have been if she wasn't called as a Slayer. And they are both fighting to be Homecoming Queen.
It's funny. It's just a funny episode. I like it.
There's so much sausage right now.
Oh my god.
Oh, Monty, just so you know, my mummy says I make the best fish and chips and the best bangers and mash. So, my British cooking game is top notch. My brother, though, makes the best toad in the hole. My brother makes the best toad. It's awesome.
Guys, let's talk about this in this episode.
I'm fucking talking about it.
This is one of the major things that happens. Willow and Xander.
Oh my fucking god, biggest mistake ever. So I have been there. So I love Buffy so much because there's so many different facets to it. Like there's so many. I relate to all of these a lot of these characters in different ways. Like, as far as like I relate to Angel and I relate to Faith. I relate to all these characters, but Willow is the one I tend to identify with the most. And I had this in high school, all through school. I had a lot of guy friends. Just being somebody who liked horror movies and video games and comics, I had more in common with a lot of guy friends. And so I tended to hit it off with, and I have brothers too, so I just think I was just better at hanging out with guys just because I'm really close to my brothers. And so I was told constantly, you're like the sister I never had. You're like, you're awesome because you're like a guy, but like a girl, you're like a guy who knows about girls. So I was so defeminized. Like, I could have been fucking wallpaper to my guy friends.
Right there.
And they wouldn't have fucking known. And then finally I dated a guy not too long after high school. And then a lot of my guy friends were like, oh, I had the biggest crush on you in high school. I'm like, bullshit. Like, where the fuck was that then? And I think that's what Willow's going through here. Because Willow has had a crush on Xander since fucking preschool. since they were
Sure.
little kids, and he has completely ignored her. He's always looking elsewhere. It's always a crush on some other girl. And now that she finally has a guy and she's finally happy, he's fucking interested.
Fucking Xander. Piece
That
of
is
shit.
fucking the story of my life. Nobody was interested in me in my
No.
life. Like, when I
my
met my first boyfriend, like, I felt like he saw me when I was invisible. And then all of a sudden, all these people who had ignored me for years were suddenly interested. And I was like, bullshit. Where the fuck were you, like, 5 years ago? And that's what's going on with Willow here. She's loved Xander for years, and now that she's happy and with somebody else, he's fucking interested. I want to fucking throat punch him.
He's a fucking dick, dude.
You have my support.
Same. Asshole.
Fucking needs a throat punch.
Mm-hmm.
There are, you know, so basically what happens is they get dressed up for homecoming. They're in their nice outfits, and then, you know, smoochies happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they both kind of freak out, like,
I don't think Xander feels as shitty about it as Willow does. Like, Willow knows what she did is wrong. I feel like because Cordelia is another one of those people like Faith who put up these walls and put up this hard exterior, that people assume that she doesn't feel pain. But obviously she's going to be upset if she found out her boyfriend was kissing another girl.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem to give a shit.
It kind of devastates her later on.
Oh, it really does.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. Worst timing ever. If anyone was, like, rooting for them, you're not anymore. Like, if that happens, you're like, oh my god, that's so shitty.
There's also a fun aspect to this episode. Mr. Trick has organized Slayer Fest 98.
SLAYER'S!
He has tricked them, hence the name, into thinking they're supposed to go to some, like, cabin or whatever, but he has put out a call to every fucking monster in the world that you should come here and hunt the Slayer. It's like surviving the game, but with vampire slayers and
So
Cordelia. Because they think what they have is Faith and Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
They think they have two Slayers. And that these guys, these vampires and monsters from all over the world can come here and hunt them down. It's Slayer Fest. 2 Slayers you get to hunt down. What they don't realize is it's Cordelia who is with her. Cordelia is not a Slayer. So, it's just poor Buffy who has to once again save the day.
Which is okay. She's pretty comfortable in that role by now.
I know, dude.
And, you know, she's got her little punny one-liners, and it's cute. But it's a much lighter episode in general, and I like it.
I also think it's another chance where we see a little bit more of Cordelia and see that even though she's kind of a raging bitch, she is still human. She's still layered. She's still complicated. I love that Cordelia tells it as it is. Cordelia does not hold back. If you want to hear the truth from somebody, Cordy is the person who's going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And I love that about Cordy. And Cordy's also on her own journey, but Cordy is not a bad person.
Yeah, it's like she said, Tact is just not saying true stuff.
And again, like all these people I relate to, that's what I relate to in Cordelia. I'm told all the time I have no filter, and I totally relate to that in Cordelia.
Yeah, fuck yeah. She gets deeper and deeper, and she even continues on her angel.
Oh gosh, yeah.
She's got a great character arc going for her.
And of course, it's all for nothing, because even though they go through fucking hell, they manage to survive Slayerfest 98. They show up at homecoming so convinced that one of the two of them is going to be homecoming queen. There's a tie!
Oh, yeah. They're like, oh!
But it's not either of them. And I think it's kind of a wake-up call.
Harmony.
Yeah.
It's kind of a wake-up call, like, hey, you know, even though you're the chosen one, the world does not revolve around you.
Yes.
Sorry.
It was an important lesson.
Yes.
It was funny. And they come in there looking a mess, too. From us.
Yeah.
Like,
But they seem genuinely surprised, and when really they shouldn't be, because
No.
since they've been involved in the whole saving the world thing, they haven't been as involved in school. You know, and
those kind Cordy definitely have a chance more than Buffy, but
I agree.
Cordy's been shunned, kind of, because of Xander.
Really, she has been, and she hasn't been as involved in, like, the activities she used to be in, like, cheerleading and stuff either, because she's more focused on, like, you know, like she says, like, she hangs out with them because they're the only ones who know about all this weird shit that she's dealing with now, too. And once you've kind of dealt with that, you can't really go back. But it means that they're, in a way, kind of ostracized from the school. You know, there's people who are involved in the school who go to the pep rallies, who go to the sports games, who are involved in clubs, and they're the people who are going to get homecoming queen. They're the people who are going to be, you know, the star quarterback at the football team, not Buffy and Cordelia. And I think that's a little eye-opening for them. But that is also setting up something very important and awesome that we're going to see at the end of this season. Even though she may not get homecoming queen, they do notice.
Some redemption.
They do notice what she does offer. It may not be.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. So cute. It's gonna make me cry.
Even though they can't really acknowledge it because it kind of breaks their whole world to acknowledge there's monsters, they do notice that time and time again when things are scary, Buffy is the one who fixes it.
Oh my god.
But she doesn't know that they see her for that, and so she's still trying to get. Because it must be hard to do something that takes all your time, risk your life for the world, and never get a thank you, and never be acknowledged for that. Like, you know, when she becomes an adult, she doesn't get paid for that. She has to work at the fucking burger joint. You know, it sucks. She gets no kind of worldly validation for what she does. And I think she thinks sometimes that they just don't see it. But we will find out this season that they do see it. They do notice that when things are scary, Buffy is the one who comes and saves them.
Yeah.
So it's okay that she's not homecoming queen. Because I think what she is to them...
happen in prom, I think. Right?
Yeah. What she is to them is more important.
Absolutely.
Maddie McCobb is in the chat.
That's all I have on that episode because I really want to move on to 6 because it's one of my favorite episodes.
Mine too!
So
a couple of things in that episode I want to cover really quick. Angel is coming around a bit more. He was very feral. He's coming around enough that now when he hears about Scott Hope, who Buffy is kind of dating, it's not very serious though, he clearly is jealous. So we know that he's doing better. And Buffy's seeing him in secret, and she's keeping it from her friends.
Nobody knows that he's back at this moment.
But, you know, also Xander and Cordelia have a secret.
Yep. What's going on?
All right, so I think we're good. Let's go on to Band Candy.
Yay!
I love this episode so much. And I know you love this episode, and I've been doing all the fucking talking, so Laura, tell them what it's all about.
Well, they are told by Principal Snyder that Buffy and the gang are told they have to sell candy bars for the band. Buffy says, we're not in the band. And he says, too fucking
He
bad.
just likes to make their life miserable.
What?
He just likes to make their lives miserable.
Yeah. So they're tasked with selling the band chocolate bars. I believe Joyce buys 20 bars. Giles buys the other half. And little by little, as everyone's eating this candy, and as you see it, it's like kind of like they're addicted to it. Okay.
It is chocolate.
Yeah, it is, and they're eating it, and they just start acting kind of funny, a little bit strange, and then it's like full on, they've gone crazy. The band candy obviously has been cursed by, it was Ethan Rain.
Yep.
Behind it all, which I love.
He is the Loki of this show. He is the Loki.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been, to cause chaos in the town, basically. And it does. It has all the adults basically acting like teenagers, which this episode has some of the funniest moments the show has ever had.
And we come back to a lot of them later on, too.
Wow. Oh, yeah. They admit later stuff that happened during this time. But the best part is that Joyce and Giles are, like, together.
Yeah, they revert to how they were in high school, and not like even how they would be in high school today, how they were in high school in their when they were actually in high school. So Joyce has got this kind of like, hippie-ish kind of chill thing going on. You know, Snyder is a total nerd because he was a nerd. And Giles has got this crazy kind of punk rocker thing going on. And they have sex on a police car twice with handcuffs.
Wasn't the guy who played Snyder also on
Deep Space Nine? He was a Ferengi.
Yeah.
He's been in so much shit.
Oh, yeah.
He randomly shows up everywhere.
He's such a funny character.
I like that we see that.
Armin Shimerman.
Yes, I like that we see that in him because even him, who I think is one of the more, you know, simplistic villains in the show, we see that he was a nerdy little, you know, guy who was pushed around. And so you know that he's got like a little man's complex. That he's someone who's always been pushed around, who's always been ignored, who now has some authority and uses that to feel important.
Yes.
But Giles is also kind of sexy in this episode.
Super sexy.
When he's got like the white t-shirt, like I don't know, something about the white t-shirt, like guys in white t-shirts with like a leather jacket, like I don't know, it's the whole Danny Zuko thing. It's just fucking sexy is what it is. Giles has got it going on. Till the break of dawn. Hey, David Larson just subscribed. What up, dude?
What's up?
Yeah, it's awesome, and of course, it's also dealing with, I think a lot of people, I don't have this problem, but I'm a pretty candid person, and I think my son has this problem occasionally with me, where people don't want to think about their parents being young. They want to think of their parents in parent roles. You know, dad is dad. He is, you know, there for me. He plays softball with me. Mom is mom. She bakes cookies and stuff. They've never had sex. They've never had fun. They've never done drugs. They've never gone to a concert. They've never done these things because they're parents.
Right.
You know, I think some people need that, like, security blanket. Mm-hmm. You know? And Buffy certainly does.
Buffy's
so disgusting. It's disturbing to her to see them acting like children.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Buffy's the adult in this episode. It's really funny.
I think for some people, even more than disgust, it's like a fear. Because if the people that you rely on to be responsible are acting irresponsibly, it makes you afraid.
Yes.
Because you kind of lose that net, you know?
Right.
Because you can always count on your parents to be there for some people. Or, you know, whoever is that person in your life who's responsible, who catches you when you fall. And if they're not there to be that net for you, I think for some people that's really scary. I never had that. So I think that's probably why I am the way I am. But, like, I'm very candid with my kid. And my kid sometimes is like, I don't want to hear about the stuff. I'm like, oh, sorry, dude, no big deal. Like, you know, today I took him to a slumber party, and the way there we had, you know, we talked about drugs and sex.
Oh,
and animal poop. I don't know. I talk pretty candidly with my kid.
That's good. You should.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention the reason they're doing this is to cause chaos in the town so that the hospital becomes kind of unguarded and they can steal a bunch of babies.
Which is fucked up.
They go there.
They go there, dude.
Babies. That's where we're at with that. I don't even remember the demon's name in this, to be honest. And it's kind of another one of those where that's kind of the background and
it's the
forgotten of the show and the consequences of the ban can't be.
We also see the mayor in this, which is important. The mayor has been alluded to a lot. He's mentioned in season 2 by Principal Snyder. We finally see him in this. And what's really disturbing about it is because the way he's been referred to, I think we have this idea in our head of this opposing figure, this dark figure.
It kind of feels like Cthulhu-esque.
And
you know
yet,
like
when we see him, he's like Mr. fucking Rogers. He's super polite. He's kind of a germaphobe. He's very, like, he's not what
normal.
Yeah. And there is something to that. I think a lot of people get a false sense of safety from people like that. But sometimes the worst monsters hide behind a face just like that.
Oh, yeah. He's real fake.
Yes.
He's full of shit, this guy.
You know, we talked about this on my last Ghouls Night Out stream where we were talking about...
He's not all completely full of shit, though. There's parts of him that are actually kind of genuine, like how he loves Faith. Like, that's real. He loves her. But he's a monster.
And that's what's wonderful, is even monsters can love people.
That's right.
But he kind of reminds me of, like, we talked about this in Ghouls Night Out last month, which you were on. You both were on. When we talked about the Girl Next Door, how it, you know, that was set in the 50s, where people thought, you know, that people who were parents and stuff, or people, you know, that people just didn't do horrible things, you know. And he's somebody who has that kind of Mr. Rogers, Dick Van Dyke kind of 50-ish mentality of politeness and stuff.
Yeah, he's got
but
a great mask.
he is very evil.
And that's the thing, like, the more you see him, the more the mask starts to slip a little. And you're like, there is something about this guy.
And we have this idea of monsters, like monsters being these people who are clearly monsters, you know, that a serial killer is going to have saliva dripping off their fangs and fresh blood on their clothes. Most of the time, people don't know who they are because they're charming and they blend in and they seem normal. And everyone's like, I would have never guessed.
Like Dexter.
Exactly.
You know?
Dexter. Hannibal is somebody who's very polite. Ted Bundy is a real-life example of somebody who everybody was charmed by, who was a complete monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he seems so nice.
I have to get an expert opinion. Laura, does M. Zombie Punk have anything in common with this mayor, being that he's the mayor of the townsfolk?
He is the same mayor.
I mean, thank God.
That's Michael.
As far as I know.
M. Zombie is Michael.
No. As far as I know, okay?
He says he doesn't have anything in common with him.
I let him be the mayor in my place. He's just the mayor of the green room.
I love it. Love it.
The mayor should be my
and I love the continuity of the show. It goes both ways, too. Like, in this one, we actually find out the extent of the sexual exploits of Giles and Joyce in season 4 in an episode called Earshot, where Buffy is able to read people's minds. But it goes both ways, because in this season, or season 4, they drop hints to, like, Dawn showing up in season 5. Like, no, it's this season, season 3. 2 seasons ahead of time, they're dropping hints about Dawn. This show is so well fucking planned out. It's insane.
It's outrageous. It's amazing.
It's okay that I don't like Dawn, right?
Oh, I hate Dawn.
Fucking hate her, too.
I don't even dislike her, I hate her.
And I know it's not her fault. It's just...
I don't care. She's really annoying.
She's really fucking... I think Dawn and Riley are... Oh, no. Dawn, Riley, and Kennedy are my, like, 3 most hated characters.
Oh, God.
Fucking hate them.
Dawn reminds me of all the things I hated about my little sister.
You have a sister?
I didn't know that we all did. I love that.
I fucking hate her.
Good. I can't wait till season 5 she shows up.
Sori is my sister from another mister.
Is her name Sori? And she's Canadian?
My real sister.
Her name's fucking Sori?
Yeah, my chosen sister, yeah. She's the best.
Her name's Sori and she's Canadian. Does she say Sori all the time?
No, she's not Canadian. She's not Canadian.
Do you have a sister named A? Or Putin? Do you have a sister named A? A and Sori?
Hoser.
Her name Poppy?
Oh boy.
Do I have a poutine sister?
That's what they do. Actually, did you know this, Laura? I'm not Canadian, but I've studied the Canadian people extensively. When we are born, normal humans, when we're born, they wipe off all this amniotic fluid off of us, and we're all covered in, like, vagina goo. Canadian people, when they're born, are actually covered in punani. In poontang.
Yeah, and we come out of ice.
They do. They do.
Ice skating. We're born with skates on our feet.
They really are.
Yeah. And
these are true facts. They can also eat ketchup chips before they've actually grown any teeth.
It's true. It's true.
Oh,
you suck on them.
that's interesting. That I did not know.
You suck on them very lightly.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like teething. It's like teething. Oh, I missed some ketchup chips, guys.
Oh, Danny just brought some back from Canada. The British version of that, even though there's caffeine in tea, my mom was convinced that when I couldn't sleep as a baby, that what I really needed was a cup of tea. So she'd cool a cup of tea and put it in my bottle to help me go to sleep. A caffeinated beverage. Yeah, I don't know. But to this day, because she didn't cool it that much, I can drink tea fresh off the boiling kettle and like throw it back like it's nothing. Like
You got skills.
That's disturbing.
my mouth has been like I have a friend, she's so sweet. She gets her coffee and she's like, "Can you get it at this temperature?" So she wants it drinkable hot, and I'm like, "You can have it boiling and it's drinkable hot for me."
That's
Your mouth is calloused all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like my mom.
There's no feelings. Are you the unburned? Are you like Mother of Dragons? Or...
Oh my god, actually, there's another thing in there. Okay, so I'm not allowed to be fire marshal because my friend Michael always has fire pits. I'm not allowed to be fire marshal ever. Fire marshal is the person who maintains the fire and puts logs on it because I can't tell when I'm on fire. Like 3 times now, my shoes have caught on fire and I didn't even fucking notice.
Are you a Targaryen?
Jeez.
Probably. Another time, I was really drunk, and it's back when I used to smoke cigarettes, and I had a cigarette on my arm, and I was like, "What's that smell?" It's my flesh.
Oh my god, you are.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You're the male.
Okay. We gotta watch
I
her.
lack
Gotta
the
know what we're
ability to
saying,
tell
guys.
if I'm on fire.
Don't give her a dragon.
Give me a dragon! Give me a dragon!
No.
Give me a dragon! Give me a dragon!
I will ride Falcor now.
I want a dragon!
That's okay.
If you think I should
Hey,
have a
Meg, my
dragon,
Falcor.
type dragon in the chat. Counting on you guys.
Everyone say no, please.
Give me a dragon.
It causes enough problems.
I'm your lawyer and I say no.
Oh.
Okay, so we're at that wonderful halfway point where Gory has to pee and get another drink.
All right.
So, I'm sure you guys also need to do things. But
Yeah.
Stuff.
first, why don't you guys cheatity chat while I go get a drink and a beer? Or a drink and a pee.
Get a drink and a
You
beer.
can get a beer if you want.
I'm gonna get a drink, a beer, and a pee.
Yeah, there you go. All in that order.
Mm-hmm. Kweeny, how are you doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm feeling a little rough.
Well,
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay.
you look gorgeous.
Thank you. You always make me feel better.
Cause
You
you're
don't have to say that.
I want to.
Okay.
Right.
Fine.
Don't blush now.
I don't blush.
I think you do.
I'm too stoked to blush.
That could be true. How's the chat doing tonight?
They're pretty active. How's it going, guys?
I like it a lot.
Take off your hoser. Hey, those are my words. Those are my people's words. We don't know what they mean either, so give them back.
Oh, my teeth for my kitty. It's a pretty cat.
Yay.
He's so cute. Yeah, Brandon.
Well, thank you.
Damn.
What's that kind of night?
Good girl. Okay.
I'm just gonna ride it out. Wherever this train goes, I'm here. I'm so fresh. Oh,
Thank you so much, Michael.
Laura is definitely fresh. Laura
Super
is
fresh.
super fresh. So how have you been this weekend, Laura?
Good.
You having a pretty good weekend?
Yeah, I'm tired, to be honest.
Mm.
Yeah. I need like a 12-hour sleep.
Yeah, just for like 15 hours or something. You know, just
Oh my
a little
God.
while.
Sounds like it.
That'd be amazing, right? I wish.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you're a little drunk? Okay.
What's happening?
Oh, people are being silly. Oh, and Dice is here, so our lives have improved, yes. Thank you.
Alright, do y'all have to go to the ladies' room?
Yes.
Okay, piss
You
off.
go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh,
Kweeny.
walk in the room. I gotta
I've
go.
got some trivia.
Oh, cool.
So, who wants some season 3 trivia?
Everyone. Woo-woo, get ready for next weekend, Michael. We're gonna talk some fucking Suspiria.
Or do you just want some general questions?
Get ready. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. How are we only
All right.
halfway through? How are we only through
What
6
is
episodes?
Willow's father's name?
I don't know that. I just know the last name is Rosenberg.
Does anybody know what Willow's father's name is? Actually, do you know Willow's parents' names?
Oh, and her mom shows up this season, but
She
for
does?
one time. But I forget her name.
So Willow, I'll cover while we wait for the chat to catch up.
Mhm.
Willow is raised in a Jewish family. Her last name is Rosenberg. Her family wouldn't even let her watch the Charlie Brown Christmas show in her household because, yeah, they're just very Jewish.
Can watch them with Xander.
Yep, I'm getting nothing from the chat, so the answer is Ira and Sheila Rosenberg.
I mean, Ira Rosenberg is the most Jewish name I've ever heard.
It totes is, though we never do see her dad. Do you know Buffy's parents' names?
Hank and Joyce.
Well done. I don't think I know Xander's parents' names.
I don't either. I could help you by like asking questions, but I'm so
do you know
lazy.
Xander's full name? What's Xander's full name?
Oh God, Alexander. Stop. You asked this one before too. On like our first episode of this.
It's Alexander LaVille Harris.
There you go. Laval.
Okay, here's an easy one. What is Giles's coined name from when he was younger and practicing dark magic?
You want me to answer or should I let the chat?
You answer if you want.
The Ripper.
All right.
He's so cool.
Does anyone know what was the name of Buffy's original Watcher? This is something you could know even if you haven't even seen the show, because you can know from the movie.
I feel like this one's lost in my brain somewhere.
Mm.
He's played by Donald Sutherland in the movie.
Yeah.
I know.
Malachi or something?
No, it's just like one fucking word too. Like that's it.
I know this, but I can't remember.
I know.
Fuck.
Now
Michael Long did know that Giles was the Ripper.
Yeah.
Of course. That's my cat. He has really long claws. He's the Ripper.
Nice.
He's the Ripper of boobs. He jumps on you and just claws
What was the question I just asked you?
about boobs.
Wait, was? That sounds like me.
We're talking about
What's the name of Buffy's Ripper Water?
Oh, okay, so since nobody answered it, it's Merrick.
Yes.
So Merrick has been played by
Okay.
2 actors now. I can't remember the name of the actor, but it's a really good character actor who plays him in Becoming Part 2. And he was played by Donald Sutherland in the movie, which we should actually do a stream where we talk about the movie one of these days.
Yeah, that would be fun. I love that movie.
Who's ready to dive into more Buffy?
I can enjoy both. I don't have to pick sides.
Okay, so
all about the TV series and not all about the movie.
do we want to continue on, or do you guys want to take a break and do some drinking
We got
cards?
it. I feel like we need to continue at this rate.
It's so cold and foamy. Let's
Let's go
talk
down
about
some-
Revelations. So this is the first appearance and last appearance of Gwendolyn Post. So who's Gwendolyn Post and what is this episode about?
Gwendolyn Post is Faith's new watcher, basically. Or so she says.
She's very British. She
She's
British. She out Britishes Giles. Like, I think she makes Giles feel a little inferior.
She's super bitchy. Faith is not really a fan.
She's very rigid.
Very rigid. But she starts training her and shit. We're like, okay, this seems legit. It's not legit, guys.
And it's not legit because she isn't really a watcher. She's bad news.
She's a watcher who's been disowned.
Yeah, she's no longer. She was a
But
watcher, but she's no longer officially a watcher in the council. What she lied about was being assigned to Faith and all that. She's not even part of the council anymore.
No,
she was
she's
kicked
come
out
to get
because
that
she's
fucking
crazy.
glove.
No, she wants to get this freaking glove which is the phlebotomy of this episode. So...
Actually, to be honest, like, I don't care about that whole thing at all.
Yeah, the glove's not that interesting to me.
It's pretty stupid. I do like it that Buffy cuts her arm off, though. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's hardcore. I think what I like about this episode is Faith, like, we see... It makes me really sad because there's so many opportunities where if something had just happened differently, maybe Faith wouldn't have taken the turn she did. But this is another one of those times where Faith gets a new watcher, Gwendolyn Post, and she's hard, but Faith has never had structure. And I relate to this. You know, when I was a kid, my mother didn't ask me if I did my homework. My mother didn't know if I came home from school. And my friends were like, oh, you've got it so easy. You know, because after my dad, you know, it was just me and my mom, and my friends thought it was so easy, but I didn't want her to be as strict as my dad, obviously, but I wanted her to set some rules down, because rules show you care, you know, and I think Faith is kind of like that. Like, she's like, okay, this lady's kind of right in my ass, but she cares. She's giving her boundaries, and Faith wants that. And then she ends up getting her heart broken again, because this woman's full of shit, and she's just using her. And it's like all of these little things lead up to when Faith really needs to trust Buffy, she doesn't do it. And it makes you wonder, if there was no Gwendolyn Post, if this thing didn't happen and this thing didn't happen, would it have gone down differently?
Yeah. Good point.
It's so sad.
It is sad. I do like
it's tragic.
Buffy and Faith are slaying together, which is cool to watch.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't like about it is this is also where the stunt doubles become very obvious.
Yeah.
That's always one of my gripes about the show, and I can't even complain about it because it's so well done. Everything's so well choreographed. The stunt doubles are so great. It's just the obviousness.
Yeah.
That they're on screen. It can take you out of it a little bit.
I get kind of sucked into the show, and I don't think I notice as much. I like what Brandon Meacham said in the chat. The glove is very much like the Thanos glove, the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
It is very much like that. The other thing, too, is we see a side of Faith that I don't think we've seen yet, because Gwendolyn Post is hard, and, you know, Giles recognizes it, Buffy recognizes it, but Faith is kind of like, it sucks, but it's kind of okay, which shows us that Faith is really hungry for that parental figure. She wants somebody to give her rules. She wants somebody to care.
Why she eventually clings to the mayor.
And that's why she is just so open to the mayor. You know, she wants that. Even though she seems all hard, she really just wants a mother or a father, somebody who's going to look out for her, somebody who's going to set down rules, somebody who's going to give her a sense of stability. You know, and that's why this episode is really sad, because this person is just using her. And then it's hard to tell somebody like Faith, oh, you need to trust people and open up, when she does trust this fucking person, and this person is awful and tries to kill her. Faith also meets Angel in this, and actually almost tries to kill him.
She wants to kill Angel.
But then Buffy stops him, and, you know, it's a thing.
Everyone, Buffy tells everyone that Angel's back, much to the grin of
Xander
everyone.
makes it all about him, because Xander's a dickhole.
He's such an asshole. The way he calls her out, get the fuck out of here, Xander. It's not your
That's what
business.
pisses me off. Because one of the things,
it's so rude.
like, I am like Buffy to the core. Like, I will defend so much about this show. I will fucking go with all of their shit and like hand to the cross. Like, no, Buffy is the shit. But Xander, the one thing I really disagree with is in season 4, they have this whole thing where, you know, Buffy's the hands and Xander is the heart, and they try to say Xander's the heart, and I don't buy that.
No,
Xander is so resentful. He is so selfish. He is so petty. And I don't think he's the heart. I don't think he is that. If anybody is the heart, especially at this point, I would say probably Giles, because he loves them selflessly, even when they're awful. But I really hate that.
It's very sad in this episode when he is really disappointed in Buffy for not telling him that Angel was back sooner.
Yeah.
He said, well, obviously you knew it was wrong, or you would have told us a long time ago.
And he brings up Jenny Calendar.
He reminds her of what he did. And now here we go again into talking about having a soul and not having a soul. He keeps saying Angel killed her. Angel did this. Angel did that. They're not the same person, but in his mind, it's still the person who killed
same
Jenny.
guy. And Buffy doesn't see it like that. And that's why I like Buffy, because Buffy sees...
I don't see it like that either.
Buffy sees the shades of gray in things. That's why Buffy doesn't kill werewolves. That's why Buffy's very different than the guys in Supernatural.
Yeah.
And again, one of the great things about Buffy, but yeah, this is complicated. It's complicated for a lot of reasons. But yeah, it does make me really mad that Xander makes it all about him, because if anybody should not be making it about them, like, Angel almost killed Willow. Angel did kill Jenny Calendar. I kind of see the fear and I see the anger from them, but Xander, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Xander.
Oh my gosh, guys! I don't know how many times you said that.
Xander pisses me off.
Hi, Michael. By the way, and also, does everyone hear an echo from me and Kweeny? Because Michael Viegas said, "Why do Laura and Kweeny have an echo?"
I'm not hearing an echo.
I don't hear any echo.
Maybe I should put in headphones.
Is someone playing this at the same time?
I'm not playing it, but they might be hearing it from my speakers, and then with the delay, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Could be. No one else has said it. So
Y'all are wearing headphones, so maybe I should wear headphones.
Terribly distracted.
Alright, I'm wearing headphones.
Yay.
It feels so weird on my brain.
Yay.
Yeah, you get used to it.
So the next episode is Lover's Walk.
Yeah. Oh, Spike!
And Spike is back. You just can't get rid of Spike because
finally.
Spike is great in this episode. James Marsters.
Now that I've put headphones on, tell me if you still hear an echo, okay, guys?
Yeah, let's know.
It probably was just that you're hearing it from my speakers.
Okay. I just love Spike in this episode. He comes confiding in Joyce again, which is so funny.
I love that.
Several times in the episodes or in the series.
And they're friends. And
Ella has left
again, it's important because it's important because when spoiler alert, when Joyce does die, he's hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and it's because they did have a connection.
They did.
He does genuinely like Joyce.
They build it up little by little. It's really cute.
It's really cute.
The best part is when Angel shows up. Spike's hanging out with Joyce, and Angel can't come in because they've uninvited him. They did the whole spell thing last season. And Spike's standing next to Joyce, going like, like he's gonna attack her. And Angel's just so pissed, and Spike just looks so funny.
And that's one of the things, it's hilarious, but it's also a little sad, is Angel is so dragged over the coals and so punished for things that Angelus did that were not his doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is punished by the Scoobies, he's punished by, except for Buffy. Buffy understands. But he's so punished by everybody for the actions of Angelus. And fucking Spike fucking gets away with murder. He's in there having cocoa with Joyce.
Yeah. Yeah. Motherfucker. I love it.
He is rubbing his nose in it.
Comedic. There's just something about Spike that there's a reason why a lot of people love him on the show, but I just love him. I love James Marsters, and I love Spike as a character. He gets super deep in the show. Like, there's a lot going on with Spike.
He's not simple at all, and I love Spike. And even though I said earlier I don't ship Buffy and Spike, that doesn't mean I don't love Spike. I love Spike. Right. I just don't think Buffy is the one for him. No, I don't either. But damn, he's got everyone has such a great character. Except so in this episode, he is trying to get Drusilla back because Drusilla left him for it's like a snot demon. What's it called? Fanaro. Not a Fanaro. A gross demon. Drusilla left him for a gross demon. And he wants to get her back, and he's got kind of that obsession. I think that's something we all relate to. I mean, who has not been rejected by somebody, and all of a sudden you are obsessed with getting them back, and it's not because you love them, it's because you were rejected. And nothing makes you feel more pitiful than rejection. And all you can think is if you can just get them back, it'll feel better. And then typically, even if you do get them back, you find out you're not happy, and you end up leaving them.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like this is about.
It is. And we're also dealing with Willow and Xander still in this episode. So Spike wants Willow to cast a love spell to get Drusilla back. And Willow is trying to do like a delusting spell so that her and Xander won't like each other anymore.
Yes. So he kidnaps Willow and he keeps her, like, you know, in like a basement. And Xander is there, and so they're stuck together. And it's really sad because Oz and Cordelia, because their significant others have gotten kidnapped, are working really hard to find them. And I see where Willow's coming from because, you know, this is somebody she's loved for a long time who's ignored her. And even though she loves Oz and she's with him, I can see that. You know, Xander finally sees her. She's been invisible to him for so long. He finally sees her. I feel like Xander's taking advantage. I feel like Xander doesn't think about Cordy. He's not thinking about Willow. He's being fucking selfish. And then they are making out right when Oz and Cordelia show up to help them. And then when Cordelia leaves, obviously upset, which I don't think people ever think about her feelings because she seems so tough.
Yeah.
When she leaves, she falls through the stairs and gets a piece of like rebar like through her, goes right through her, and she has to go to the hospital. And she won't even talk to Xander.
No, it's and she's broken up. He comes to bring her flowers. She says, Xander, like in this really sweet voice, and you're like, oh, she's gonna talk to him. She says, stay away from me.
He broke her heart. She gave up everything for him. She gave up her social standing in high school. She gave up her friends. Everything. She was willing to sacrifice it all to date a guy that she got made fun of for being with because she liked him and he betrayed her.
Yep.
He made her feel like a joke.
You're the joke, Xander. Fuck.
Really is. And I wish I remembered more of this story. I do remember from watching the commentary on this one, that the falling through the stairs and getting the rebar, the wood through the belly, that actually, I think it happened to Joss Whedon. It really did happen.
It happened to Charisma Carpenter.
That's it, Charisma Carpenter.
Yeah. It did happen to her as a child. In fact, in some episodes in Angel, you can see her scar from where that happened.
Yeah, so that is based on an actual thing that she experienced, which I think is really cool. I like that Whedon incorporates so much, you know, because they say write what you know, and I think for actors it's also kind of act what you know. You can't feel sad without thinking about what makes you sad, and I think incorporating her real life injury was really good, and her acting in this episode is on point. She plays it so hard, but she's so vulnerable in this episode, and my heart breaks for her.
Yeah. She's getting more and more human.
Brandon says he hated Whedon set the funeral shot to fake us out.
Oh my god.
I know, right?
Oh my god.
You never know, because Joss Whedon has no heart. He is not afraid to kill anybody, no matter how much you love them. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Okay, Corey.
I am gonna cry. I am going to get so angry when we get into season 6 because he does things where I'm just like, stop toying with me.
Oh Lord, 5 and 6 for me. Oh Lord.
Oh, I know, right? But
yeah,
I'm still pretty much on board with the show, but season 6, there's some things where I just felt like the writers were punishing me.
It's a lot. Season 6 is a lot. Can't wait to talk about that one.
So this episode leads directly into the next episode because I think when you love somebody, you give up your any kind of pretense. Like if you're somebody who prides yourself on being tough, or You know, I think we all have armor in some way. You know, I did say earlier I used to have that kind of faith armor where I seemed tough and scary, but if I'm honest, I still have armor. I just have humor for armor now. You know, I use jokes and stuff to hide how I feel about stuff. Oh, nothing gets to me because I'm making a joke about it. But it's just different armor. It's armor that I'm more comfortable with now with this part of my life. But we all have that. Every one of us has an armor. And when you really love somebody and you let them in, you drop that armor. And when that person rejects you or makes you, for whatever reason, feel worthless, it hurts because you didn't have anything to protect yourself with. You had no armor. You know, she's stabbed to the belly, but I think that's how she actually feels. Mm-hmm. And she was Queen C. She ran that high school, and she gave it up for him, and now she feels wounded and vulnerable and pathetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and her ex-friends are not making it any easier on her.
Yeah.
They're super rude to her in this next episode.
Harmony and all of them are like, instead of being like, oh my gosh, you were a friend and you're hurting, they're like, wow, and you got cheated on by the loser you were dating. The loser you were dating.
It's evil. These bitches are the worst. But,
I'm sorry, Brandon, I'll try to keep not spoilers for you.
This
goes directly into The Wish, which is one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Oh my god, yeah, sorry, Brandon, we're spoiling shit.
And it has my favorite character in it.
Anya!
I love Anya!
Anya's crazy.
She's adorable. She's
so
kind of crazy.
Well, she does some crazy shit later. No spoilers.
Anya is a demon who serves women who have been scorned by men, or really anybody.
She's a vengeance demon.
She's a vengeance demon. If you've been scorned by your love, she works with women, but I don't think she would care if the person who scorned the woman was a woman. But she doesn't really help men. But yeah, a woman is scorned. Anya is there. Cordelia has been scorned. And so she shows up, and she wants Cordelia to say something really nasty, like to hurt Xander.
I wish whatever.
So I wish whatever, she's going to make it happen. This episode is called The Wish. Mm-hmm. And what is her wish? Does anyone remember?
Yeah.
I feel like a teacher. Does anyone remember? Raise your hand.
She wishes that Buffy never came to Sunnydale.
She blames everything on Buffy.
Yeah. This is all Buffy's fault.
It fucking sucks. Poor Buffy.
But it's great. She wishes it, and Anyanka makes it happen. Anyanka's like her, you know.
Anyanka's your girl. I cannot tell you how many times I wanted an Anyanka in my corner. I love Anya.
Right, please.
I actually enjoyed Halfrack too later on in the series, but we won't get into that right now.
I love that too, but I love Anya is the character who gives me the most laughs. I fucking love this character. She's probably my favorite character. I love Anya.
She's very
so fucking much.
She's scared of bunnies, guys.
She's so fucking hilarious.
She's so funny. But
you know who else is afraid of bunnies?
None of this goes on in this episode. Like, we don't see her personality.
We don't see much of her. She's just a vengeance demon. We think she's just a girl at school who's actually being kind to Cordelia. And then she gets all demon face. And we find out she's a 1,000-year-old demon who is just trying to act vengeance. And in Anya's point of view, she's doing the right thing. She's helping women get their damn vengeance. But she doesn't see how destructive that is. So in a world where Buffy never came to Sunnydale, it's actually really scary. Because in Buffy, there is hell. And there are places in the world where hell can be easily accessed. And these are called hell mouths. There's one in Cleveland. There's one in Sunnydale. There are some scattered throughout the world. There's one in Scotland. And these are places where the evil is able to escape hell, and that's why Sunnydale has so much more demonic activity than other towns.
Yeah, and these vampires and all these creatures they gravitate towards it. Okay.
Yes.
So that's why they're there.
So like a vampire is like kind of a half demon. They're a demon inside a human's body, but they're drawn to that like access of evil, so to speak. And in this reality, Buffy instead went to the Hellmouth in Cleveland. So she never went to Sunnydale, and most of Sunnydale is dead. There's a curfew that you need to be home by a certain time. You do not wear bright clothing because that attracts vampires. And
they have a monthly memorial for the people who died that month.
There's a group of people who call themselves the White Hats, who are people who try. Giles and Oz are in that group. They're people who try to fight the vampires, but they're not able to really make a huge difference.
Right, and Cordy asks, she's like, oh, please tell me Xander and Willow are the biggest losers and total nobodies. And Harmony's like, well, yeah, they're dead. So Xander and Willow are dead, but they're vampires.
Yep. And the worst part is they're together. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? I wish this into this dimension, and they're still together. They're both vampires. They're evil. And it's really kind of fun because we're going to find out more about this later on. But we've learned up until this point that a vampire, we're told it's just a shell. It's a demon inside their body. It just has their memories, but it's not them. But that's not entirely true. It's a lot more gray than that. And you find out that a person in their vampire form, you're seeing kind of like what is the absolute worst that person could be. And that's important.
And some can be worse than others, just like all humans.
And we see Willow in a sadistic way. She calls Angel her puppy in this world.
Yeah.
She
grosses me out in this one.
She's slinky, and as regular Willow puts it in a future episode, she thinks she's kind of gay. Which is foreshadowing! But she's very sadistic, and initially you were going to be like, well, that's nothing like our Willow. But we learned later on, Willow has that in her. Willow has a sadistic side. Willow has a dark side.
No spoilers.
Willow might be kind of gay. I don't know. We'll find out in future episodes. But
we'll find out.
It's not as simple as Angel told us it was.
No, not at all. Well, for him, it's a little different than it is for Spike. And it's a little different for Drew. It's et cetera, et cetera.
I feel like it's how much in common. Like, I feel like if the demon is compatible with you, it's going to be more gray area. Whereas if you guys are polar opposites, like Angel and Angelus, it's a lot easier to identify what's Angel and what's Angelus. But I think most vampires and humans are kind of they share similarities. It's almost like a parasitic relationship.
Yeah, it is, actually. It's a good way of putting it. I love any episode of any kind of show that does like alternate reality stuff. And Buffy does it so well, and they do it often in different ways. Band Candy's kind of like that. Not in the exact sense of it being an alternate reality, but you know what I mean. Whenever people are acting out of character and you get to see like how things would be different, I just always find it super entertaining. So I love this episode.
Also, the mayor is still alive because Buffy was never there to kill him. And they're basically...
The master.
God, sorry.
He turned the bronze into a vampire bear.
And they're basically gonna do kind of what they did in that movie Daybreakers, where they just kind of make like a fast food human blood thing.
Which is cool and very, it's not super graphic, but it kind kind of is. The way those things just plunge into the body and the blood comes out. It's very enterprising.
And Buffy...
And they pour it on tap. Fresh human blood on tap. It's fucking ridiculous and so funny.
We also see what would have happened to Buffy. Honestly, Buffy is a lot more like Faith in this reality. Because she went to Cleveland. She didn't have friends. Right. And she's got a nasty scar. She's hardcore. She doesn't have that vulnerability that I think is what we love about Buffy.
She's very different.
Very different. She's hard. She's cold.
But she is still responsible. She's getting shit done.
She is. But she's had a much harder life than the Buffy that we know. And she's lost a lot of what makes her Buffy. I think it takes a lot of strength to still be as vulnerable as Buffy is despite what she's gone through. And she's lost that in this alternate reality.
Yep, for sure.
I think it's easy to put up those shields and be tough and not let people in.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I admire Buffy so much, because I think the hardest thing is to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it is, it's crazy and disturbing to watch her. The shots are really nicely done. I loved it. Her staking Xander, like it's nothing, because she doesn't know Xander in this reality.
Yeah, she's just like, plunge,
Yeah.
move on, plunge, which is something Giles said to her in the first season. It should just be plunge, and that's what she is. Kill, move on. Nothing matters to her. Seeing these people who mean so much to her in her ordinary reality, none of it matters.
Very interesting. And
Also,
these shots are really stunning at the end. I love it.
Who thinks she pulled off the whole braid thing before fucking Katniss? What?
They stole that shit. Not that I don't like Katniss's braid.
That's my girl, Buffy.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
But ultimately, to undo the wish, all you have to do is destroy Anyanka's amulet.
Yes.
And it goes back to our regular reality, and nobody knows any better except for Cordelia still does, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's the only one.
Yeah.
No one has any... Yeah, nobody knows.
Which is something I think that kind of changes Cordy, too, because even though she really hates Buffy, Buffy is her rival in so many things. Yep. But I think it kind of opens up her eyes, like, as much as you may not like Buffy, we need her.
Yep, sorry about it, guys.
So you may not be like me, you may not love her like I do, but even if you don't love her, you need to recognize that at least in this universe, you need her.
Yep. I'll be back in 1 sec.
Are you gonna go pee? She's gonna pee. She's peeing right now. She's doing the urinating. Queenie, you've been quiet, my love.
Yeah, I'm just listening. I'm sorry. I'm in a lot of pain right now.
Am I talking too much?
No, you're doing great.
I get so excited about Buffy, and I feel like I do all the talking, and then we end these streams, and I'm just like, you were a terrible friend, and they are never going to talk to you again.
Oh, don't be like that. No.
I'm hard on myself, dude.
We get to hang out and talk about Buffy.
I love talking about Buffy.
I mean...
So I want to share a story with everybody. I kind of told Queenie about this, but I haven't got to actually talk to her about it. So we both attended Seattle Crypticon, which is phenomenal. I feel like, Queenie, we're kindred spirits. Like, I've always felt connected to you. But getting to hang out with you in person, it's so unreal, because it feels like I see her all the time. Like, I don't know, we're just bonded. She's my sister. But here's another thing that's like the universe being like, dude, you guys are kindred spirits. I love the term kindred spirits from Anne of Green Gables, by the way. I use that a lot. But we're kindred spirits. So I'm tired. Crypticon Sunday, I'm spent because I'm old. Just had a birthday. Yep. And I asked Danny, because it's a 3-hour drive for us. So it's like, have we done everything? Have we experienced everything we want to do? Because I'm kind of tired and I'm ready to go home. And he's like, yes. And I'm the kind of person who is stupid and has to talk to everybody, because I firmly believe that life is short. And if you have a kind thought, even about a stranger, it's best to share it, even if they think you're weird, because, you know, life is short. And if you have anything kind to share, anything positive to share, you should share it. So I see a guy, and he's got a killer Alice Cooper bandana. So me being me, I'm like, dude, that's a killer Alice Cooper bandana, because I got no fucking filter, and I believe things like that should be shared. We spend too much of our time sharing negative thoughts. Like in stores or restaurants, whenever I get a nice waiter, I always go to their manager and say, so-and-so is good to me. Because being somebody who's been a waitress and worked in customer service, when people have a bad experience, they're much more likely to go to your manager. Anyhow, so this guy has a killer bandana. So I'm like, hey, talking to him about Alice Cooper for a bit. We're having a nice conversation. I look at his vest, and I was like, is that a Kweeny Todd button? I know her. She's my buddy. And he says, as a matter of fact, it is. And he is friends with Queenie, too. And I'm like, oh, dude, we have a mutual friend. His name's Tim. And I'm like, that's so cool. I wish I had a Queenie button. So he has a bag of buttons. And he's like, do you want one? I'm like, yes, I do. He gives me a button of Queenie and Jessica Cameron, which I now have in my button collection. That was killer, dude. Like, small world, right?
I know. He's so crazy. I love that guy. Just one day, like it was, I think not this con, but last con, he ran into me and he was like, "I made buttons of you," and I'm like, "What?"
That's so
What
cool.
the hell?
I want to be on a button. One day
It's
I'm going to be on a
awesome.
button. I'm not famous enough to be button worthy.
Dude, I'm not famous enough to be on a button, but I'm on a button.
You're on a button. I think you're famous
You
enough.
guys are both on buttons. Hello.
Okay, my
Hi.
face ain't on no button.
Fair. Look, I'm repping tonight. Look at that.
Well,
Fuck yeah, bitch.
I would rep, but somebody hasn't made a store where I could buy my Freaky Girls Live shirt.
It's true.
You-
It's true.
You don't buy it. You get one gifted to you because you're a freaky girl.
Sweet. Am I getting one? It was my birthday yesterday.
I
True.
know.
It's true.
Am I gonna get one?
I don't know.
No. Am I gonna get one eventually? I will
You
seriously.
You're one of us, bitch.
I will seriously pee myself if I get one. I will.
I hope that you video that.
I will actually wet myself.
Yes.
Urine will
Which-
come out of my girly
Yes.
parts.
That's intense.
You guys, everyone who's here, next weekend, Freaky Girls Live, 2nd birthday / anniversary, 2 years, guys. And it's going to be Gory's first show. It's going to be amazing.
What? I hope I fit in. I'm kind of nervous. Is it weird that
You'll be
I'm
fine.
nervous? Because I kind of feel
No.
like it's like when you start the first day of school. Like everybody already knows. Everybody, like when I moved here from England, like I was kind of intimidated because everybody had been friends with everybody since like grade school, and I didn't have that because I was the new kid. And like Freaky Girls Live, they have 2 years of friendship, and I'm the new kid, and hopefully they like me. But they're cool chicks, so I think they're gonna be nice to me.
I think I will be. I haven't decided yet.
You like me, bitch.
I
You
love
like
you.
me.
I love you.
There's a lot of love in this room.
I want the other ones to like me too.
They hate you.
I don't know
But I
Serena
love
They
very
totally
well
hate
yet.
you. Yeah.
I think Victoria and I bonded on our last school's night out.
Fuck yeah.
No, Lita hates you, obviously. 'Cause she's
Nuh-uh, really?
most
Because I
hated.
love Lita.
She hates you most of all.
Mm-mm.
Brandon Meacham, I do not have a Ghouls Night Out shirt, but I should make one. I do have a Ghoul Gang shirt. And I have a Boyles Club shirt. So, yeah, I have those shirts in our merch store. But I should make a Ghouls Night Out shirt.
We actually need a Slayer's Club shirt, to be quite honest.
Fuck
with you.
yeah, I made us a killer logo. Even though, okay,
I
Yeah.
know.
can I be honest about our logo? You know what pisses me off about it?
What?
If I tell you, it's going to bug you too. It's like one of those...
Oh, no.
Oh, god damn it.
I
It's
hate
a bird
that...
box.
I've already made it, so I don't want to redo it, but I hate that there's blood on the stakes, because when you stake people in Buffy, they
turn to
dust.
dust.
Oh.
Yeah. that's
But
true.
she does use them on demons sometimes, and demons sometimes have blood.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a dramatic effect. It's flair.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
okay.
season 3, a human gets staked.
Yeah, ooh.
Ooh. For fuck's sake.
You want a
That's about
link?
to happen.
Brandon, I will... Here. If you go to horroraddictstv.com and go to the merch page, it's on there. But I'll send you a link later. But in the
Yeah.
meantime,
We're moving on to episode 10.
let's go to Amends. This is the
Amends.
Christmas episode. This episode breaks
It's the
my fucking
only
heart.
Christmas episode.
There's 2 Christmas episodes.
There's not. There's just the one.
Nuh-uh, there's 2.
No, there's one.
Mm-mm.
Name the other one.
I feel like there's another one.
There's not. Trust me, I know Christmas, bitch.
Alright, I'm gonna trust you because I can't think of the other one, but I swear to God there was 2.
Trust me, I would know if there was another one.
Yeah, you would know.
Anyways.
Alright, I
Sure,
think you're
sure.
right because I'm scanning my brain, and that's weird. 7 seasons and 1 Christmas episode?
No, they kind of gypped me on that, to be honest. Speaking of...
They do a lot of
Gypping.
Halloween
Gypsies.
episodes.
Do what?
They do a lot of Halloween episodes. Did you know
They
I'm part
do.
gypsy?
And there's always a birthday episode for Buffy. So that's
So
a thing.
Amends is the Christmas episode, and this is very
Yeah.
much kind of like the Christmas Carol.
It kind of is. It's kind of crazy.
So, this is actually a really important episode because it introduces us to the big bad that will return later on and be the arc, like season big bad of a future season. I'm not going to tell you which season because I don't want to give you fucking spoilers because I'm a considerate person. But this is the first evil. The first evil is I don't know. Explain the first evil, somebody.
I can't. The first
really
evil is like original. It's the
like
original
the essence of sin
evil.
or something. Yeah. Like
They don't ever really. I mean, they get into it later in the show a little more.
It's
but
like the
there's not.
concept of evil.
Yeah, it's kind of like in. You can't really.
It's like
describe
Sandman, where they have
it.
the incarnations of immortality. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. Like it's an idea that's taken flesh.
Yeah, it's kind of like the devil, but even
Kinda.
worse.
It is, and in that it's very trickstery, and the first evil can take on the appearance of anybody. And the
So
first
we're
evil
into this
has
calendar.
decided that it wants Angel. The first evil's goal in this episode is it wants Angel to kill himself.
Yeah.
It wants Angel to walk into the sun. And it does that. It's pushing him to do that by showing him his victims, by portraying his victims. And one of the biggest ones is Jenny Calendar. And it's really sad because Angel didn't do these things. But even Angel gets fuzzy about that shit. Because he saw it. It was in his body. He feels so responsible, even though he was powerless to do anything. I feel like the only person who ever really sees this for what it is Buffy. Because everyone, Giles is really coming to terms with the whole Angel killed his girlfriend thing, but it wasn't fucking Angel.
Yeah, it was not.
It's sad. It's very sad.
It is
Also,
sad. I'm tired of Angel being victimized.
It's another reminder that if you get killed off in a Joss Whedon show, doesn't mean that you don't have a job. Because you probably do.
Oh, would you like to hear something, a fun fact about
Yes,
this?
I would love a fun fact.
About, what's her name? Robia
LaMorte, which actually her last name means the death, which I think is fantastic.
It's true, but I think it's fake. I think her current last name is Scott.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's the fun fact?
Here's... I don't know why this bothers me, but it bothers me. So they called her back to come, reprise her role, I guess. And, she played the part, whatever. Well, after the fact, she said that had she known she was going to be, she says, basically portraying the devil, she is a born-again Christian, and she said she would not have come back. I'm like, really? Like, isn't that what acting is, bitch? Like, come on.
That blows. Well, I'm glad she did it, because
I did not like that. Like,
I
really
think it was
bothered.
essential to have her in this episode. And it's really sad because I think all of us, no matter who you are, no matter how good you are, you have those things, maybe not to the level of an Angel, where you've murdered people, hopefully not. But I think we all have things that we regret. We all have things that make us feel like a villain. I have certainly done some horrible shit that I feel horrible about all the time. And Angel it's this added jab in the side where not only does he have those things and they're worse than anybody else's, but if he forgets for a moment that he did them, he loses his fucking soul.
Yeah.
And he'll do more things. It sucks. But I feel like Angel, we hear a lot about the powers that be on the show called Angel. The powers that be is kind of like, there isn't God necessarily. There is heaven in the Buffyverse. But the powers that be are essentially God. It's the universe. It's the order to the world. But there isn't necessarily God and the devil. But the powers that be kind of choose these champions. The powers that be are the ones that choose the Slayer. They're the ones that, and they are called champions and angel. Like, they are the ones who kind of decide who gets powers and who doesn't, and whose job it is to protect those that cannot protect themselves. And I feel like the powers that be, despite how much Angel has been through, they know that he's a hero and they know that he's a good person. Because ultimately, despite Buffy doing everything in her power to say, you are worthy, don't kill yourself, the world is better with you in it, Angel still is like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm a bad person. I should not be forgiven for what I've done. But
why
when
is he so sexy and sad? I know. Just FYI, Danny's in the chat saying that he is the first evil.
He is. It's fine.
I thought so.
We have marriage counseling for that shit.
I don't
It's
think
all
it worked
good.
out. He still believes it. So
I think it's
here we
kind of
are.
sexy. Just saying.
I mean, yeah, you're the
A
right
girl
person to
likes
be
a
with.
bad boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's it.
I can
That's
handle
the
it.
ultimate bad boy right there.
He totes it. He has a mohawk now. It's pretty badass.
Oh, nice. Sexy.
He was really
So
We're getting sidetracked by sexiness.
we
okay?
totes are. So
Anyway.
Contain it, Danny.
Oh.
Jeez.
So when the sun comes up and Angel should die, it's snowing, and it never snows in Sunnydale. It's snowing this day, and so Angel won't die because
the sun won't come.
in this, according to the Buffy rules, if it's really overcast, if you're in shade, or if it's snowing, which again, there's clouds out, that's enough to protect them from the sun.
You still would think you'd see a lot more vampires walking around in the rain, though. Just saying.
Guess not. But we see, especially like season 6, we see a lot of Spike hanging and shadows and stuff.
There's a lot. There's a lot of that.
But you love Christmas. Also, I love, we have a very cute moment. Cute's the wrong word. A very warm moment where I love that Faith, who obviously has not had a lot of traditional Christmases, Faith is decorating the tree with Buffy and Joyce, and I love that moment.
My heart.
Yeah, because after this, she really starts taking a turn.
Inside Faith, there is a little girl that just wants structure and just wants love and just wants hugs and puppies.
Family.
And she gets to have that. She gets to have a real Christmas with a family, and she's accepted, and she's a belonging, and I love that. And I love that she gets to have that.
My heart.
Kweeny, what did that mean to you?
It meant, I have some history of my own, and
tell us about it.
Well, I grew up with an abusive drug addict for a mom, and never met my father, and I was angry, just like Faith. I had no structure in my life, just like Faith. I had to be basically my own caretaker, just like Faith. And so watching her have that Christmas, and at the time, I hadn't really made peace with the fact that a lot of my abuse happened around Christmas.
Same here. So, I don't know about your mom, but
my mom went a little crazy like 2 Christmases before I ran away.
My dad, the more he tried to do right, the more stressed he got, and the more horrible he got. So birthdays and Christmases were the worst.
Yep.
And
he tried
it's
hard,
really
but then...
strange. My first really good Christmas, my mom finally left my dad, and we were really poor. I'm one of 3 kids. We were living in an apartment, and my brothers, unfortunately, were my dad most of the time, but they were with us for Christmas. We were all together, and we were so poor that we got signed up for like a welfare Christmas. Like, we had tons of donated presents underneath the tree. But I remember being so happy and feeling safe. Like, my dad's car, the sound of my dad's car would make me wet myself. I was so afraid of my father. I could not relax. That's why I have PTSD now, because I was always ready to run or fight back. I was always afraid. And I just remember being really happy and relaxed in this shitty apartment with these welfare gifts that were like not intended for us at all, but it was perfect. I had my brothers and I had my mom, and we were together, and we were happy, and we were safe. Nobody was gonna hurt us, and it was fucked up, but it was like the best Christmas ever. I even had a shitty perm. I remember my mom, because perms were in style then, she got me a perm, but it was a really crappy one, and it was awful, but like nothing could ruin that. It was just us being together made it perfect.
Well, I know what it's like to have people who are supposed to take care of you treat you like you're a pariah and throw you away.
Yeah.
That's what happens to Faith. That's why she ends up taking what little love the mayor gives her, because she's like, oh, someone cares about me.
A lot of people, I think, take for granted safety, that feeling of being, for the longest time, it took me a long time to get to where I am now, and I still have really bad PTSD, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm heavily medicated. It got really bad. But it used to be, if you walked by my bedroom, I was alert, because my dad's the kind of person who would shake you awake and My dad
My
was...
mother's attacked me in my sleep.
Yeah, my father would too. I used to sleepwalk, which sleepwalking is usually a sign of not being able to sleep because you're still in fight or flight mode. I was in fight or flight mode all the time. All the time. I used to sharpen my nails to points just so I'd have a chance at fighting back. I could never relax. And just getting to have a moment where you feel safe, and it doesn't matter if you have money, and it doesn't matter if you're super successful in school, just being with people you love and feeling safe, just relaxing and putting your fucking guard down, like, that's the everything. And to see Faith have that, it really warmed my heart.
Sadly, she doesn't keep it because she doesn't know how to handle it, you know? Like,
She's
I understand because
afraid...
it took me years to even trust anyone.
Yeah.
You know? I almost didn't end up with Ben because of my trust issues. Like,
she's afraid that if she gives into it, it's going to be taken away, and then she's going to fall lower than she was before.
If you show your vulnerability, they will take it from you.
And the only time she really does that is with the mayor, and he is so the wrong person.
Yeah, even though he does the right things, though. He does the right things. That's why it hurts so much.
And you know what? I had a mayor in my life. I did. When I was homeless, I had someone take me in, and they, for me, were the mayor. And they were a bad person. And so I get that. But she eventually meets Angel. It's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be okay. In life, I think it's not necessarily that we find people who will save us. We don't find angels walking along Earth, but eventually you find people whose fucked up baggage matches your own. It's like a complementary set. And you find these people and you help each other through. Those are going to be your angels on Earth. You know, for me, that's Danny. It's people like Kweeny and Laura. You know, just, we all have pain, and it may not be identical, but it's enough. Pain feels the same. It feels the fucking same.
Pain shared is lessened.
Yeah.
Pain
and when you realize that, you realize how much you have in common with other human beings that you're connected to. I think you get strength and you're able to get through this shit. And I wish Faith had that. I wish you could see that even though Buffy seems like she has it all, Buffy has suffered. Buffy has felt pain. She can't see that. Yep. If she did, she wouldn't have to go through what she's going to go through this season. But she will be okay, guys. So don't worry.
Don't worry. Our girl Faith will have her own Phoenix day.
Because you gotta have faith. Faith.
Yeah, the mayor is a great villain.
You gotta have faith.
So good.
Faith. You
to me,
gotta
it was
have
like
faith.
Faith.
Buffy!
Yeah.
I know that you think Faith is cray, but you should get her to stay because she's super cool. Sorry, guys. I'm so fucking sorry.
Oh, shit. Oh, we've lost it.
The mayor is a great villain, though. I love him because he's kind of like a Cthulhuoid creature. He's this elder monster, nasty
Pretty cool.
man.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Very powerful being.
Honestly, you know what he reminds me of? I had a boss who was really a cool guy. I love my boss because it was when I was in college. My boss, I worked in the computer tech center, and I loved it when he'd call me to his office because he was like an old man who would like to ramble about shit. But he was from Salt Lake City, and he would tell me the craziest stories. He's like, it's so funny because Salt Lake City is like obviously the highest concentration of Mormons who are polite and nice, and it seems like everything's fine. But he said, I saw more depravity living there than I have anywhere else I've ever lived. Just because something looks polite and nice and stable does not mean that it is not evil. And I am not drunk, Brandon.
Wasted. She's not drunk, she wasted. She's white girl wasted.
I am not wasted. I'm not even tipsy.
Yeah, you are. You're fucked up.
Are you serious? Give me a test.
No.
Give me a test.
Walk a straight line.
I'm gonna be right back, guys.
The British accent slips when I've been drinking too much. That's usually my
It's starting. I can
Bullshit.
hear it.
Like what? I haven't said anything remotely British. Did they just leave me?
Hold on a sec.
Bullshit. Let me know in the chat if you think I'm drunk, because I don't think I'm drunk. I think I'm totally fine. Last night, though, I was drunk. And if you want to see me really drunk, watch Danny's personal channel. We did a stream, and I'm, like, falling asleep in my luchador mask.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry.
Hey, Dollface.
What'd you do last night? Hi.
I had some friends over, and we played cards and drank, and I filmed a sketch for a review, which was really fun.
Awesome.
So I'm excited for I'm reviewing Happy Birthday to Me for my birthday, but at my
Nice.
birthday party, I filmed the sketch, and that was really fun. We had cupcakes,
cute.
my brother came up, I love my brother, and lots of good friends came up, so it was nice. It was great. It was low-key.
I like that.
I love how low-key and low-key sound very similar, because in my world, they're pretty much the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I do like them. Hey, guys, if anyone was wondering if the Ice Genie works, it doesn't.
Hey guys, if anyone's wondering, I just threw my beer bottle into the trash and totally made it nothing but net, so I'm not drunk, bitches. Am I out of beer though? No, I'm not. Fuck yeah, I got another beer.
Fuck you, Ice Genie. Go fuck yourself.
Give me a Buffy trivia question. Hit me. I gave you some last time.
Okay. Let me think.
Give me a good one.
Tell me the name of the actor who played the principal in season 7.
The principal's name was Robin Wood.
Sure was.
Who was the actor? Shit.
What was the name of his Slayer mother? How about that?
Nikki.
Yeah.
And that's where Spike got his coat.
It's
Fuck,
true.
what is the name of the actor? Tell me.
I don't know.
Fuck, dude.
Just thought maybe you would.
It's in here somewhere, but right now I cannot think of it.
I can't either. I'll know it if I hear it, but...
You know what's interesting? In the new rebooted comic book series, Robin Wood is in it, but he's their age, and he's like Buffy's love interest.
Yes, I've heard. Oh, look, the Ice Genie finally came out.
What is an Ice Genie? What's an Ice Genie?
It's kind of, like, the idea is cool. You put this thing in here, okay? And it's got all these little areas for the water to go. So you put this in here, and then you put water in it, and then you take this out. Here's the problem. This thing, it's really hard to get out. And then you go like this, and then you have a bunch of ice in there, okay? The problem is, this thing is horrendous to get off. I just sat here for 5 minutes trying to get it off. Just for this little bit of ice. Fuck you, Ice Genie. Fuck you very much.
And I don't know if you guys have been watching my streams on my new channel, but I think my last channel, I tried to, like, you know, wear my costume and stuff. But streams I've decided are out of character things, because I reveal a lot of personal shit, and I want to be real with you. So this is out of character shit, you know? My name is Hayley Knighten. I play Gory B Movie on my channel, but we are not the same person.
I'm Kweeny Todd. The end.
But honestly, I get called Gory as much as I get called Hayley, because it was my roller derby name, so it's pretty interchangeable. But there are going to be some new characters I'm playing on my channel soon, so stay tuned.
Hey guys, can I do some faith quotes at you?
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear some faith quotes.
Wait, do we want to get through the season and then do that?
We have two more episodes.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah,
Let's do this.
Let's talk about gingerbread. Now, gingerbread hits me where I fucking live. I have met other witches who have not been persecuted, and I envy them. Like, I know Maven's been practicing for a couple years now, and she says she wears her pentacle and has not gotten any hate. Maybe it's a big city thing, but I've had a few people in my life want to burn me at the stake, have told me, you know, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, and they meant it.
Damn.
Gingerbread is about that. So in Gingerbread, there is a demon that manipulates the parents of Sunnydale, and it makes them, it starts with the death of two little kids, and it's kind of plays into the Hansel and Gretel myth. And these two children, and when children die, especially because it's so wrong, we should not outlive children, you know. And I think in our real lives, when we see in the news and stuff that a child has died, it hurts us so much more. Because it's wrong. It's perverse. We should not outlive children. Right. And that's something we all believe. And so that's what happens in Sunnydale. These two little children are killed in a playground.
Yeah.
And the parents are all riled up, and they create this group called MOO, Mothers Against the Occult, which is the stupidest acronym I've ever heard.
It's so funny. But I kind of love this because it kind of feels like another sort of alternate universe type situation. Like these parents are going psycho about, you know,
it plays
all
into
talking about all these people who have gone missing in the town. Joyce is like, how many of you have had someone go missing? All this stuff. So everyone's freaking out.
Because they all see it, but they don't talk about it. They don't recognize it. We finally see Sheila, who, it's one of Gory's issues, or not Gory, it's one of Willow's issues. Gory's me. It's Willow's mom is never fucking around. And now all of a sudden she's super fucking involved. Like, I love it when she sees Willow and she's like, did you get a haircut? She's like, yeah, like last year.
So stupid.
And it sucks up on it. Because by comparison to my father, my mother is a saint. But that's the kind of relationship I had with my mom. My mom was so involved with her own thing when I was in high school. She didn't notice if I came home. She didn't notice if I had a haircut. My mom fucking had no idea what was going on with me in my life. We were fucking passing ships at the sea. Like, she had her own thing going on. And I love my mom dearly, and my mother loves me. But I relate to that.
Right.
And, yeah, so they get super involved. They create this group, and they blame everything, the deaths in the city, on, as they put it, the Slayers, the witches. So, like, there's a warlock guy at school. He gets persecuted, and ultimately Buffy and Willow and Amy, you know, from season 1, are put at the stake, and they're going to be burned by their own mothers.
It's so bad.
Now, a very important thing happens. Amy is a more adept witch at this stage than Willow. Amy, to escape, turns herself into a rat, and Willow does not know how to turn her back. So Willow keeps her as a pet. And this is going to be an ongoing thing for many seasons.
Many. They even get her a little hamster wheel and everything.
Oh, yeah. She totes has got the whole habit trail thing going on.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, for a rat, she's got it good. I mean,
but, yeah, it really, that's something I relate to. I've had two big moments. I've been Wiccan since I was 16. I started studying when I was 15. In Wicca, you study for a year and a day before you have your devotional, and then you're officially a practitioner. So, since I was 16, I've been Wiccan. And I've had two instances where I've had people really, well, maybe three instances where I've had people fucking hate me just for being Wiccan. One was I had a friend in high school. I went to her house all the time. Her mom was like, oh, Hayley's such a good influence. You should spend more time with her. She gets good grades and she's sweet and stuff. They found out I was Wiccan. They're like, she's going to hell. Get the fuck away from her. All of your problems, the reason why you fuck up and skip school and stuff must be her, even though she doesn't do that shit. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So crazy.
She told her daughter to go into my house, and because she came over all the time, my mom let her in, and she ripped up all of my shit. Any pictures and stuff I had of her, she said, you need to go rip up any pictures she has of you, or she'll cast spells on you.
Oh my god.
I'm not kidding.
Why are people so stupid?
Anything she'd given me as a gift, she took back. Her mom convinced her I would cast spells on her.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So that was the first one. Another time I had a friend who was going through a lot of shit, and stupid, you know, and I tried to give them my pentacle. I was like, well, here, this is something that helps me. And then they freaked out and never talked to me again. And then the biggest one, I told you when I was homeless, I had a lady who took me in, right? Yep. So this lady, I thought she was really cool. She was Christian, but I have a lot of friends who are Christian, and she let me live at her house. She didn't even fucking know me, and we talked a lot about a lot of stuff. She talked to me a lot about Christianity, but I agreed with a lot of that stuff because I believe spirituality is all kind of at the base of it the same thing. We all kind of believe do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Across Christianity, Buddhism, Wicca, all that shit. It wasn't until she found out that I was Wiccan that she objected to anything that I believed in, and yeah, then she went and had a whole intervention for me with, like, I came back there after work.
God damn it.
No joke.
A witch intervention.
I had a witch intervention.
That's amazing.
It was fucking awful. It was so
so depressing.
Shit.
Oh god.
Just people leave people alone. Let them do what they want.
38
Honestly.
years old
You ain't
now.
hurting anyone. You're good.
I'm 38 years old now. Until yesterday, on my 38th birthday, my altar was kept in my closet. So that way, if someone came to my house, they would not see anything that's going to label me a witch, and they're not going to think I'm fucking evil. And I was like, you know what? I'm fucking 38 years old. If you're in my house and in my fucking bedroom, you need to just fucking accept what you see, because you're in my fucking bedroom. I moved my altar out, and yesterday I moved it against the wall. It's my fucking room.
Good job, girl.
If you don't like it, get the fuck out of my house.
Right, girl.
I am too fucking old to hide who I am to make other people feel comfortable.
Right? Eventually you wake up and realize that.
I've been coming to this for a while. Like my son was in the parade. He played drums in the parade for his school, and there was like all these Christian schools and stuff, and I was like, God, if there's even one Wiccan float, people would flip their shit, because I live in a small town. I was like, you know what, in my own damn home, I don't need to be in the fucking broom closet.
No, thank God.
That's right.
But this is what this episode is about. It's about going after fucking slayers and witches and anybody who's fucking different. I was goth in high school, and I totally get that. And Buffy feels betrayed by her mother, because her mother is leading Moo. She thinks her mom is coming around to her being a slayer, and her mom tries to fucking kill her.
That's so ridiculous. But I love Buffy at the end, where she gets herself off the stake and goes to kill the demon thing, which is formed out of the two children, and she does impale him. She's like, just standing there.
Did I get him?
Did I get him? Did I get him? It's so cute.
And it ties into their Hansel and Gretel myth. We find out that in the Buffyverse, the truth is that Hansel and Gretel were a demon. One demon split into two children, and the witch with the candy house was innocent.
Yes.
And the children created a hysteria so that the townspeople would kill the witch.
Yeah, so every 50 years, these kids come back. Not the kids, the demon. But it looks like kids. I mean, I guess the show goes on, and they start saying, who are these kids? What are their names? Like, where do they come from? Does anyone know who these kids even are? And they realize that something's amiss. And sure enough, it's amiss.
I'm telling you guys, kids can be evil.
This is the first time we've also seen Giles and Joyce together since they boned. And it's obviously awkward.
They're so uncomfortable.
We mentioned Amy, but I think what this episode is about to me is the scariness of the mob mentality.
Yeah.
People are reasonable. You can take any person one-on-one, and I feel like most people, unless they have some mental disorder, can be reasoned with. Mobs are not. If you get a group of people who are afraid, they are capable of doing some very frightening things out of fear, because enough people together can create hysteria.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what this is about.
What happened?
And for somebody in high school, which at the time these kids are in high school, I think that's something you see. I think a lot of times when you hear about really horrible things that high schoolers do, you find out that it's a group of people. And a lot of times in groups, really horrible things happen because it's like, well, that person's doing it, so it's okay, and things get justified. And then sometimes really awful things happen.
Yeah. True facts.
It's like you can be told your whole life, for instance, that drugs are bad, right? I was told, my whole life my father smoked, so I was like, fuck it, I'm never going to smoke cigarettes. Fuck that shit. Because I associated it as something bad. And in high school, all of my friends smoked. And you know what I ended up doing? I ended up smoking. That pure, not even peer pressure, pure mentality, your friends are doing it so it's okay thing is dangerous.
Yep.
And that's what happens in this episode. This mob mentality leads Joyce to try to kill her daughter.
Moo. It's so funny. I love it.
It's so terrible.
Kweeny, you have mommy issues. What did this episode do to you?
It rips me apart. Like, it's really hard to watch shit like that because it's like, yeah, my mom's betrayed me. But that was like old hat for her. Like Joyce's mom is being influenced by something else, but
there's still that fear of the person who's supposed to protect you trying to kill you. And For me, yeah, I have that issue of my dad. You know, I don't really know what it's like to have a normal dad. But my mom, flaws aside, I know loves me. And to think of my mom doing that, like, that terrifies me. You know?
It is terrifying. My mother attacked me several times, and I've seen it in her eyes where she was...
Did you ever meet your dad, by the way? I was just wondering.
No, I've never met my dad. I did look for him at one point, but that's a different story for another time. But yeah, my mom attacked me several times because she had some issues that have not been
you know
resolved.
what's really scary is I feel like a lot of us feel divided from other people.
Yeah.
Because we think nobody else will get it. But you'd be surprised when you start talking to people how many people have suffered abuse. How many people have been sexually or physically or emotionally abused. I would say it's like 1 in 3. It's pretty fucking common.
At least.
And none of us seem to get that because we don't talk to each other. You start talking to other people.
Talk to people on my channel. Like, I started this section on my channel where I talk about my shit because I need to talk about it.
And then you find
I needed to hear other people. Yeah, and I needed the feedback from other people going, I feel that too. I get you.
I love that you guys talk about it. I love it.
It's not my place to talk about what Danny's gone through, but that's part of the reason why we work. Because I did not have an abusive mother. My mother was somewhat neglectful, but she's fucking human, and I love my mother. My mother's a great person. And we have a great relationship now. But Danny had a very abusive mom, and it's because of drugs, and it's really hard for him to deal with. And I think the fact that he had to deal with that and I had to deal with my dad is what bonds us, because I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had to deal with anything like that, Laura?
What?
Have you had to deal with anything like that?
No, I have not.
Well, that's good.
I had a very super normal middle class childhood.
The thing is, what I've come to realize in my life is you don't need to be abused by a parent or abused by a stranger or abused period to understand fucking pain. Because pain fucking hurts. Even though my pain, you know, my biggest pain is probably, yes, having an abusive father.
Yeah.
To somebody else.
Here's one thing. Let me just say this, though, and I think this is just across the board. You should never compare pain.
You shouldn't. Don't ever gatekeep that shit. Because it fucking still hurts. Somebody could lose their grandmother, and it fucking hurts, too. Somebody could lose their fucking pet. You know, that fucking hurts. Pain feels the fucking same. I cannot tell you by memory, and I've been hit numerous times. My dad tried to run me over with a fucking car, and I cannot tell you physically what that felt like, because I don't remember. You forget that. I just remember how it felt emotionally. And how it felt emotionally is no different than maybe the same level of pain you might have felt losing a pet. Or you might have felt not getting something that was really important to you, like getting into a certain college or getting a certain job or being rejected by the person you loved the most. Pain is the same, and that's what unites us. And when we start gatekeeping that, that's when we divide ourselves, and that's when we get isolated.
So true.
Hell yeah.
Bravo, bitches.
Bravo.
Look how deep we're getting over Buffy. We get so deep over Buffy.
It's ridiculous. It's real shit.
Yeah, it's like real stories wrapped in supernatural stuff. And
this kind of conversation kind of leads into the next episode, Helpless.
Yes.
Where Giles his behavior is pretty questionable. So, what did you guys think about? I hate it, but it's another thing where we're seeing, you know, he's flawed. He's not perfect. I do think it's so out of character for him. It was kind of hard to swallow for me. But, yeah. What do you guys think?
So, on a Slayer's 18th birthday, which most Slayers don't ever get to this.
Yeah.
In the Watcher's Council, there is a ritual where their Watcher needs to drug them unbeknownst to the Slayer and make it to where they feel sick and they do not have their powers for 24 hours. On top of that, they need to put them in an imminent danger. So Giles does this. He injects Buffy, who is sick. She's not used to being sick. And then she's put into a abandoned house with this vampire who's not just a fucking vampire, he's mentally insane because he was abused by his mother. So he's fucking bent. It's like Norman Bates as a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't get his meds and shit, he's a lot worse. This is a vampire who's been like restrained and shit. And they leave Buffy in a house with him alone. And he fucking does it because even though he knows it's wrong to betray Buffy this way, his sense of duty to the Watchers Council makes him go through with it. And he feels like shit about it.
Giles really wants to be accepted by the council.
He has been told by the council a lot that his feelings for his Slayer, his like almost paternal relationship with his Slayer, makes him a bad watcher. Yes. And that really fucks him up. Because I think he needs being a watcher to feel like he's not that guy anymore. He's not the Ripper. He's not that chaotic child. He needs that order. He needs that structure to feel like he is a good man.
Well, here's the thing, too, about the council. They're really fucked up. They're pretty corrupt, and
Quentin Travers, dude.
They don't see the Slayers as people.
Nope.
They're just tools.
Soldiers.
To them, yeah. Like, they don't... Basically. So, having a personal relationship with one...
They just
that's
pointless.
Yeah, like,
because your Slayer's just gonna die and there'll just be another one called, so why get attached?
Don't like Kendra, she was trained her whole life by her watcher. And that's it. Like, there was not... That's how they think it should always be. And it's obviously not.
So we have two things going on here. We have the vampire, Kralik, who, the actor who plays him is Jeff Kober. Jeff Kober, to me, is most famous for his role in the vampire TV series Kindred the Embraced, where he played Daedalus, the Nosferatu. He will return in season 6, where he is a warlock. But in this, he's a vampire who was made insane by the abuse of his mother. And a vampire made insane is still insane. We see that with Drusilla. We see it with Kralik. He is supposed to be restrained. He escapes, and Buffy is left alone with him, completely powerless. So we have two things here. Kralik, obviously, your mom is the person who's supposed to protect you. She's supposed to nurture you, be there for you. His mother didn't do that and turned him into a monster. Buffy's parental figure, in a lot of ways, her dad is Giles. He is supposed to protect her, and instead his loyalty goes to the council. He injects her, and he leaves her to a place where she is in imminent danger. And it's a massive betrayal. It's a massive betrayal.
And he does struggle with it, and, he does feel terrible about it. And he ends up getting fired.
Yes, he breaks the rules.
Becomes a whole new thing. We're going to see Wesley. And
he breaks the rules, and he intervenes to protect Buffy and gets fired by the Watchers Council. And even though he intervenes, Buffy still feels betrayed, and she's like, yeah, you're dead to me, dude. Do you guys blame her? How do you feel about this?
That's like the ultimate betrayal.
I'm very
well, first of all, her mom turned on her in the last episode. Now essentially her dad kind of turned on her. So she's like, fuck. She's like, fuck this bullshit. I don't blame her at all. But you see Giles in a different light, but you still feel for him because you do love the character no matter what. So it's interesting. The thing that bothers me about this whole thing is I get why they have it in place. I get why they did it. But the problem with it is, for me, is there's no rhyme or reason as to why they do this tradition with the Slayers.
There's isn't. I almost feel like it's like a kind of culling, like the movie Battle Royale, where they'd send a middle school class to kill each other every year just to kind of reduce the numbers. I feel like it's the older generation's way of controlling the younger generation, because the older generation tends to be threatened by the younger generation that will ultimately end up replacing them.
Yeah, that's my main problem with it, is there really isn't a reason given, and I don't know. That bothers me a little bit. But I still don't hate the episode. It is really interesting and kind of heart-wrenching to see Buffy without her powers. Like, she's walking down the street and she gets catcalled by these guys. And, you know, in your mind, you're thinking, oh, please, she can beat your ass. Well, she can't. And she's just like anyone else who feels powerless. She just keeps walking, and she's, you know, she's kind of like cowering. So
it's
hard to
sad.
see her without her powers.
And
but she does a good job. She's still strong. She's still tough. She still has good instincts. She just doesn't have the strength and the powers. But she still does a decent job fighting.
This is also Buffy's birthday, and Buffy always has shitty fucking birthdays.
It's a
Last year on
tradition
her birthday, her boyfriend lost his soul and tried to kill her. This year, her watcher decides to take away her powers. It makes her completely vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, Buffy's birthdays always suck.
Yeah, they do. So, yeah.
It's also the episode, we know from Angel's flashback in Becoming Part 2 that he fell in love with Buffy at first sight when he saw her on the steps of her school. But this is the episode that he shares that information with Buffy, because she didn't know that. And he tells her that it's her vulnerability, that even when she was this high school girl without a care in the world, that he could see that in her. That he says he, like, held her heart out, and he, you know, vulnerable, and he just wanted to protect it with his own, which she's like, yeah, taken literally, it sounds kind of disgusting, but, you know, it's sweet.
Yeah.
So,
Kweeny, you have anything to add on?
Sorry, I had a malfunction.
Okay.
yeah, he's seeing pictures of Ben. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't.
Is he a redhead?
Yes, yes, he is.
Sweet. My
Or he
son's
works Salt and Pepper. He's awful.
my son's demonic father is a redhead. That's why he's a daywalker.
Excellent.
That's nice.
Yeah, my bear. He's my Viking.
I'm a Viking. The Vikings invaded East Anglia, where I grew up in England.
Well, this Viking invades this one.
What?
Hashtag sexy fae.
Oh,
It's pretty
God.
fucking sexy, right, guys? Scale of like 1 to wow.
And I want to say about this episode, it's for me, I have kind of a different perspective on it, and I'm sure you guys can relate, because I think all of us, whether we have children or not, we have people that we feel maternal towards or paternal towards. You have those people that you protect, that you feel need protecting, and you take it upon yourself to be the person who protects them. So I feel like you guys can relate to this, even though you don't have children of your own.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, having a child now, because I watched this as a teenager, you know, and I saw only from Buffy's point of view, this person who's supposed to protect you betraying you, and how awful that is. And I related to that. And now I see it from both points of view. I'm a parent now, and there are things I have to tell my son where he's like, I can't trust you anymore. He tells me this all the time. I can't trust you, because I'll tell him, okay, you need to do this, and then you can go hang out in your room for a bit. And then I remember, oh shit, he has that project for school he needs to work on. And then he's like, I can't trust you. You said it was one thing, but he needs to do the project for school. You know? And I'm just looking out for the damn kid.
Yeah.
But he's only focused on, you know, how he sees it, and he feels betrayed. But I'm trying to do what's right. And it's really hard, because you're torn as a parent between wanting to be their friend, wanting their admiration, wanting their respect, wanting their love, but also going, you know what, even if it means that they hate me, this is what they need, and this is what I'm going to do, because it's what's best for them. And I feel like that's where Giles is. Even though he feels it's wrong, he also is like, well, there must be a reason we have this. It must be what's best for her, so I'm going to do it. I don't think he would knowingly do something that would get his Slayer killed. He trusts the system, but the system is flawed.
Yes. It is true.
Any other thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right, bitches. So we've talked for 6, 7, 8, 9, 3.5 hours about Buffy. You guys want to play a stupid drinking game?
Yeah. Only I'm gonna drink water.
Do you guys have anything else you want to say about the episodes we've talked about?
No, I'm good.
I'm just happy we get to start talking about Faith again.
So we are going to get really into Faith. So next time on Slayer's Club, stay tuned. It will be next month. We don't have a date picked yet, but it will be next month. So
It will be.
if you follow us, any of the three of us on social media, you'll get updated. But it'll be on Queenie's channel. We're going to talk about season 3, part 2. And we're going to really talk about Faith and the mayor.
Right in it.
It's going to get really interesting, so I really hope you guys don't miss that. Stay tuned. Follow Kweeny on our social media. Subscribe to her channel, and you absolutely will not miss the next Slayer's Club. I also keep a playlist of all the Slayer's Club episodes on my channel. If you want to catch up on those, you can check that out.
You're the best.
Now, we've gotten dark, man. We've talked about some dark shit.
Oh.
We've talked about the fucking pain.
Queenie has some Faith quotes for us.
Oh, yeah. Give me those Faith quotes. Give me them.
Okay. One of my favorites is she's like, God, I could eat a horse. Isn't it crazy how slaying just makes you hungry and horny?
Oh, yeah, we just
say, right? Like, I would say that, yeah.
It's the way everyone looked at Buffy afterwards, too, that was even funny.
She's just, like, nonchalant about it, just saying it, you know, like...
Buffy's
she's like, right, B?
Right, babe?
I love that she calls her B. My best friend reminds me a lot of Faith, and she calls me H.
And it reminds me of Ginger Snaps, because...
Yeah.
Ginger and B, yep. I don't know, I just made that connection for some reason.
I like it.
I was thinking about it last night when I was watching.
All the great B's of history.
Yes. B. Arthur is one of them.
Do you guys mind if I run to the little Gory's room while you share some more quotes?
Of course.
All right, I'll be right back. IP Fest.
Okay.
So here's one. Just relax and take off your pants.
Damn.
Woo.
Oh,
boy. Take my pants off. I don't know for you. I'm ready.
I'm here for you, Eliza Dushko.
So what are friends for? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just all this sweating, nightly side-by-side action, and you never put it in for a little after-hours grunt? We're Slayer's, girlfriend. The chosen two. Why should we let them take all the fun out of it?
Yeah. Yes, girl.
Whoop.
Honey.
First word, jail. Second word, bait.
Oh my God, yes.
She says it like it is, guys. She doesn't give a fuck. Like, she sees it wrong. She'll be like, that's wrong. She's not always right, but she means it.
She's not afraid to say it.
She's not afraid to say it, man.
Love her. Love her.
She's my soulmate.
She's your spirit
I'm
animal.
back.
Yes, she's my spirit animal.
I brought something for you guys. You know how I like to do show and tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a clotter ring is, like Angel says, it's basically an Irish wedding ring. And they exchanged it as essentially a replacement wedding ring. Like when, the men would go, to sea or to war or whatever. They didn't always have a chance to get married beforehand. So this meant love, loyalty, and friendship. And it basically meant that, you were married, even if you were not officially. But what a lot of people don't know is a clotter ring is not officially a clotter ring unless it's made in Claddagh, Ireland. And my husband ordered my engagement ring from Claddagh, Ireland. The other thing that's really important to me is my grandmother is probably my favorite person in the whole world. And my birthstone's an emerald. My grandmother also loved me a lot. And her father's birthstone was an emerald, so she loves emeralds. She also believes that my grandfather reincarnated. That's a whole other story. But her engagement ring, because it meant a lot to her, had an emerald on it. And so I always said when I got married, I wanted an engagement ring with an emerald on it. So my husband got me a clotter ring with an emerald.
That is fucking fresh.
So, can you guys see it? If you look on the stream, you can see it.
Absolutely fresh.
It's gorgeous.
So that's it.
Love it.
Love is in the air.
Good job, Danny.
You did good.
Yeah. We love it.
All right. So, God, we've talked about so much shit. I have a question for Laura.
Mm-hmm.
I have talked a lot about which characters that I relate to, which characters mean a lot to me. Kweeny has, talked a lot about what Faith, in particular means to her and how she relates to her. What character do you identify with the most, Laura, and why?
That's a great question. I gotta think about this one. Somehow, of all of my Buffy watching, I've never really... Maybe I don't relate to anyone that much. I kind of love them all. Let me think on that one. Let me get back to you.
Okay, on the same turn, Laura and I talk a lot about how we love Angel.
We talk... I thought you were just going to say we talk a lot, because we do.
We do.
Yeah, you guys do talk a lot.
But, Kweeny, who is the significant other that you wish was yours in Buffy?
Ooh, that's hard. Okay, because, like, I like to ship things sometimes with my husband, because we're dorks like that. And I would ship Faith and Angel together.
Who would you want for you?
Well, if I'm Faith, I want Angel then.
I like that.
I think that Angel makes her a better person. She makes him a better person. I think that they learned a lot from Buffy herself, you know, and they have that to bond over. Like,
for Buffy, I ship Angel, but I'm not Buffy. Buffy is better than I am. I identify a lot with Willow, and I love Tara with Willow, and I love Oz with Willow, and I think either of them would be a great match for me, and my husband reminds me a lot of Oz.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, so I identify with that a lot.
And I love Oz. Oz is a favorite of mine, too.
Some people even say that. Some people even say that he looks like Oz. I don't see that so much, but whatever. Take
Definitely
it.
personality.
I don't see that at all.
I don't, but you know what's funny is Lulz' demonic birth father. A lot of people say he looks like Oz, and that I do see. He's a very short ginger.
He's a very short ginger.
I like him short. What can I say? We got our thing. We all got our thing.
Stout. You like them stout.
I do. I don't like a guy who stands above me. I just don't like feeling like a little kid. So,
I feel like my husband protects me with all of his big bear strength. Because I do feel like a little wolf pup between this giant ass bear.
How tall is that?
I think it's
Or
because
someone drew a picture of us like that.
My dad, like, having that authoritative male figure looking down on me and being intimidating. Like, I can't have a romantic relationship with a guy like that. He needs to be my height or shorter.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel safe with my husband, so it doesn't really...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Queenie, how tall is Ben? How tall is Ben?
Oh, I fucking sleep and I can't ask him. He's bigger than me. I'm 5'2" though. Like, I'm a little hobbit
He seems
person.
very tall.
Yeah.
Danny and I have cosplayed as
probably
Willow.
5'11". He's probably 5'11".
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I'm really bad with estimating that stuff, though. So I'll just throw that out there.
Numbers.
But if you see him with me, you can see the difference. It's just very extreme.
People think I'm a lot taller than I am because I'm taller than a lot of my friends and my husband. I'm 5'6", but Danny's 5'5". He's actually not. I don't think he's that short.
No. That's not that crazy.
I can eat from the kids' menu.
And it's really stupid because I feel like I am attracted to shorter guys because being a child and having, like, my dad, like, bearing down on me. My dad's actually really short. My dad's, like, 5'5". Like, and he's Italian, or my dad's 5'4". And so when I got older, to kind of make it less scary, when my dad would walk away, because I'm a shithead. This is why I blame myself for a lot of this stuff. I would do, like, the Mario thing, like, go, do, 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 because my dad had, like, the mustache, and he was short, and he's Italian. Do, 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 do.
The Mario theme? Oh, that's great.
This is where I blame myself for shit, dudes. Hey, Geek Out Cinema. Steven?
Hey, Steven. Hi.
But I've always, I've never really had, I'm really picky about who I have relationships with. My friends used to tease me a lot because I date somebody, I'd be single a long time, then I'd date someone for a week and be like, eh. And they'd be like, you barely gave it a chance. And I'm like, you just kind of know. I've only had relationships that lasted more than a week with, like, 3 or 4 people. And my 2 biggest relationships, my son's father and Danny, have been almost a decade each. So when I really am with somebody, I'm with them for a long time. But otherwise, it's pretty short. But I honestly feel like I've always been open to having a relationship with a woman. I feel like if you restrict yourself by gender or height or a lot of the things that people set up as standards, you could miss out. I think Tara is a great person. And I think absolutely, like Willow, if I met somebody like that at the right time when I was single, I would have fallen head over heels for Tara.
She's so sweet.
She is. And gorgeous.
Oh my god. Gorgeous.
And I find women attractive, but I don't know people like to put labels on everything. I've never had a serious relationship with a woman, so I don't know how you classify me, but I find women attractive, and I've always been open to having a relationship with a woman, so I don't know how that classifies me.
You don't have to be classified. You're just who you are.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
That's how I feel about it. I mean, like, Willow, when she met Tara, everyone's like, oh, she's gay now. I'm like, no, she loved Oz. Like,
yeah.
Do we have to box everybody into these little
She
labels?
loves Xander. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever read the book The Host?
Yes. Love
I
that book.
love that. Like, my favorite part is...
It's crazy, man.
The guy is
a whole new idea.
in love with this parasitic alien inside of this other girl. And there's a part where she's in a canister kind of thing. And she's like a little squid. And he protects it like it's the most precious thing. Because even though it's an ugly little squid thing, that is the being that he is in love with. And it doesn't matter that it's an ugly little squid thing. He is in love with that being, regardless of what shape it is in. Whether it's a man, it's a woman, it's a squid, it doesn't fucking matter. And that's how I feel about love.
It's crazy. And guys, look, you don't have to like Twilight, but give Stephenie Meyer another chance and read The Host. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Don't watch the movie. I mean, you can watch it after, but
I like the movie too.
I like the movie, but I think the book did a better job. I feel like you'll appreciate the movie more if you watch it after you read the book.
Oh yeah, read the book first.
Sometimes, like Interview with the Vampire, I think you can watch the movie and you're getting the experience. And I actually think I like the movie of Interview with the Vampire better than the book. But with The Host, I think you need to read the book first.
Yeah, I agree. Do it.
Do you want to play a drinking game? Let off some steam?
I mean, I would normally say yes, but it's going on 1 o'clock and I'm kind of tired.
For 15 minutes, do you want to play a drinking game?
Yeah.
Whatever, Laura. Like, you need sleep. You and your adorable little plats.
Plats. I know, I am normally quite vampire-ish, but today I'm fucking tired, bro.
I'm really tired too, but we can play for 15 minutes because I kind of like letting off a bit of steam after we've talked about some heavy shit. Right?
It's so heavy.
So my brother got me this game Buzzed. And if this applies to you, you drink. Every player who's a Scorpio takes a drink. Your parents probably fucked on Valentine's Day. Ever think about that? Are you Scorpio?
I'm not a Scorpio.
Fuck that card then. Let's go to the next card.
My
The
husband
player with the oldest phone must drink. I have a Android Pixel 1. Pixel XL1.
That sounds old.
Fuck, I'm drinking.
I have a Galaxy 8.
Alright, we're just gonna keep playing until Kweeny gets back. We can't end the stream while Queenie's gone anyway, girl.
No, of course not.
But I have you, Laura. Laura, I love you. You're good people.
I love you. You're the best people.
I like candid people, and you are a candid person. This is Queenie.
He's definitely candid.
Queenie, we're playing a drinking game. We're gonna play a drinking game for like. Yes.
There's our watcher, Dave Maggot, who's.
We're gonna play for 10 minutes, and then we're gonna call it a night. Sound good to you?
Good. Yeah.
All players who have a solo picture of themselves as their phone's background must drink. No, mine is. Mine. I'll show you my phone. This is my phone.
Mine is
And mine's Lily Munster. Mine's like a sexy Lily Munster.
Oh, mine's a whale in the ocean.
Mine is Sabrina. Mine is Sabrina.
Nice.
See?
All right. Next one. The player with the largest shoe size takes a drink. And congrats on also having a huge dick, bro. I wear a size.
Whoa. I don't know what you just said.
The player with the largest shoe size must drink.
Not me. I
wear an 8.
My feet are little people feet.
What size shoe do you wear?
I think I'm an 8.
I'm an 8. We both drink.
Oh, that's good. You guys have to drink.
What? Because we have 8.
It's bigger than hers.
I wear 7.
Okay, well, sure.
I have a small penis.
Okay, the player who has broken the most bones has to take a drink.
Not me.
Does dislocating your shoulder count? I've dislocated my shoulder.
No.
Not a broken bone.
All right,
No.
I've
I've
broken
broken bones.
my pinky. I've broken my index finger. I've broken my foot 3 times. One foot
Nope.
twice.
It's
Okay,
you.
you get it then. You get it.
All right, I have more. I can keep going.
No, you won. We believe you.
You won.
You
I
get
broke
the
my
point.
wrist.
Oh, damn. Brandon Meacham wears a 14 and Dice wears a 9.5. Hey,
My brother
that's
wears a size
good
13,
penises.
and he used to wear all white shoes. It's like his feet were little tiny boats. It was adorbs.
That's really cute.
Take a drink if your family has a Costco membership.
Nope.
Me neither.
Shit.
All players who had a Nintendo 64 must throw back 2 drinks. Well, fuck me. I have one now.
Nope.
I blame my
Never had
husband. This is because of you, Danny.
Thanks a lot, Danny.
I'm gonna get hydrated, guys.
Hey, this is a
To
great
quote
game.
Sarah Silverman, hydration is so ill. If you're having a good time in the chat, post your favorite emoji.
If you're having a good time in the chat, take a drink.
All players without a middle name take a drink. You fucking weirdos. My husband has 2 middle names.
Yeah, that's a thing for some people.
My cat has 5. I have 1. What's your middle name?
My middle name's May.
Oh, that's cute. Queenie May.
Yeah, like the movie May.
What's your middle name?
Marie. So
Oh.
well,
You want to know what mine is? You're going to laugh.
Esther.
That's cute. My name, growing up, my name was Hayley Louise. Doesn't that sound like a hate name?
Aw.
Yeah,
And
it does.
when I was little, I was super posh, or I thought I was posh. And so I was like 3, and I would go up to people and be like, I'm Hayley Wallies. Would you like to hear the ABCs? Because I thought I was like the shit.
Sad.
So my mom called me Wallies for like years because I couldn't pronounce it.
Oh my god, that's cute.
Remember Dorbs.
Love it.
Which player is most likely to get high before a job interview? The person with the most votes drinks. Queenie.
Queenie.
Hey! I would never do such a thing.
Never.
Drink if you believe in ghosts. I'm on the fence about this one. I don't know if I do.
So am I. So am I.
Queenie, drink.
I guess half a drink.
Hydrate, bitch.
Queenie, drink if you're dead inside.
Yeah, okay.
The player with the fattest thumbs takes a drink. It's probably me.
I don't
I'm
know.
probably
My-
the smallest
my
thumb.
wedding
Hold
ring-
them up to the...
My hobbit
I
hand.
can't tell. Every player without facial hair takes a drink. I'm Italian. I have facial hair.
So do I. Italian too. High five.
Hey, Michael Long's middle name's Anthony. I like it.
I'm gonna
Michael
pee a lot.
Anthony.
Any player with a cracked phone screen must drink.
Oh,
Nope.
baby.
All players who are looking at their phones right now have to drink. I'm not.
Nope.
Every player over 6 feet tall takes a drink for each. Well, not us.
No.
No.
Drink if you enjoy the smell of gasoline. Fuck yeah, I do.
No.
Yeah. Love gasoline.
It smells so good. I also love those liquor scented markers, dude.
Ooh, yeah, those are good too.
Drink if you ever used a fake ID. I have not, because I was a good girl.
I have.
Laura, you're so bad.
A bad girl.
All right, we still got about 5 more minutes, Laura.
Oh shit.
Drink if
We're
you've
getting
ever
wasted.
invested in Bitcoin. I have
No.
not.
Nope.
I'm surprised.
Drink if you've ever studied abroad in Europe and it totally changed your life. Okay, I grew up in Europe and I went to school there. Do I drink?
No.
I
That
studied-
would be like saying, did you study in the U.S.?
But I have.
Oh, well, if you studied abroad for the purpose of studying abroad,
Well, I have, and I've also studied broads abroad. Suck my balls.
well, then you know what? Take 2 drinks, then.
Yep. I
I'm
agree.
studying
too.
you broads right now.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
What?
What?
All gingers take a drink. Sorry, not sorry.
Nope.
I don't think I count as a ginger. My hair when I was growing up was reddish brown, but I don't think I have to take a drink. My kid, though, is a ginger.
No, you don't have to. Laws
Good.
has to.
Lols. Actually, he's a
Big Megan
daywalker. He's a daywalker. He has the freckles, but not really the red hair so much.
Yeah, he looks more like blondish, dirty.
Yeah,
blonde.
but he has the freckles everywhere. But he's a daywalker, but he still has to wear like SPF 80.
Of course.
If you've ever bowled 200 or more, no one cares. Everyone drink.
I have.
Fuck, we all have to drink. Drink if you've ever played with a Ouija board and it worked. I have not, because that's shit creeps me out.
I'm wasted.
Drink. The player with the hottest dad drinks. Not mine. Though my dad did kind of look like. My dad does kind of look like David Duchovny or Tom Cruise. But he's an asshole, so we're not drinking.
A lot of people think my dad is hot for an old man.
All right, you're drinking.
Fine.
My dad's kind of evil.
Fuck him.
Drink if you took an AP class in high school. Nerd. Fuck.
Fuck us.
Haha.
So hard. Which player can come up with the best idea for an app off the top of their head? The person with the most votes gets 3 drinks. Off the top of my head, I want an app. All right, you go first. I'm going to think about it.
I got nothing. It's too much thinking involved for a drinking game.
I want an app that makes like a sound effect that comes out of it that makes children run away from you. That's what I want.
That's perfect. You win.
I want an app where you can track your poops. Like
There is an app for that.
And then like a
Really?
little chibi pops
Yeah,
up.
I gotta look it up because
Fine.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Fine, this is what I want an app for. You
It has
ready?
like a poo icon.
My son needs one. This is what I want an app for. You ready? I want
Yeah.
an app. It's like Letterboxd for Buffy, where you get to rate each episode of Buffy on there, and you can make lists and shit.
Ooh. Nice.
Pretty good, huh?
That's
Yeah,
pretty
like
good.
that.
That's pretty good.
All right.
There's literally an app with the little poop sign, and it's called Poop Log.
I need that for my
called Poop
kid.
Log. Get it? Poop Log 4.5
All right.
stars.
So my app or Queenie's app?
There's an app for everything.
Hey, look, they're in here. They're like, as a person who suffers from IBD, this app is a lifesaver. Get
My
it?
son has
God damn
Hirschsprung's
it.
disease. Queenie, did
Yeah.
you get a universal remote yet? By the way,
No, not yet. Not
hurry up
yet.
and get one. Otherwise, your Blu-ray player is going to
I have
waste.
to stop dying. Tell my body to stop fucking up.
Oh,
Stop fucking up,
oh wait,
Patty.
which app do you like
Oh my
better?
god, it's real.
What app do you guys like better?
What?
I don't know, poop
My
apps
Buffy
seem
app or her
to be
app?
popular.
What's the Buffy app?
Oh, I thought we were doing the poop app.
Like a Letterboxd app where you can log episodes of Buffy you've watched and rate them and make lists and shit.
No, that sounds tedious.
All right, Queenie, you have to drink 3 times.
Aw, that's a lot of water.
Suck it.
She
You
gonna
better
pee her pants.
hydrate the fuck out of that.
Fuck
My
yeah.
doctor will be so proud of me.
Fuck yeah.
All players who are using someone else's Netflix account must drink. I am not. I use my own.
I'm
Netflix.
using my
Say that
husband's.
again?
Does that count? Does it count
Drink,
if it's
yes.
SO?
What about it? I didn't even hear what you said.
Does it count if it's your SO?
No. I don't
Technically in
think
his
so.
name.
I don't think it counts.
Okay, so I can't drink. Okay.
No.
Dang it. I'm trying to hydrate like a boss.
Everyone
So
who
player.
is younger than you must drink. I'm
Well, that's
38
not me.
as of
You guys
yesterday.
Not
might
me.
drink.
How old are
Drink
you?
gory.
How old are you?
I'm 38. I just had my birthday before you.
Suck my balls. How old are you? How old are you,
All right,
Laura?
present 'em.
I'm 29. I'm drinking.
Oh my god, you sweet little
Come on,
baby.
B,
I just want to
present
protect
'em.
you.
I'm a precious baby angel.
You
I
are
want to protect you. I just want to hold you in my bosom and protect you forever.
You should.
My nipples will be like tiny shields protecting you from harm.
Oh, thank you.
If
Makes
Yeah.
me feel good inside.
Okay, take turns saying quotes from Mean Girls. The first one to fuck up takes a drink. All right, I start
I'm gonna
on
lose.
Wednesdays. We wear
Oh,
pink.
I got nothing.
Drink.
All right.
And smoke.
That's right, Dice. Drink.
I don't
All
even
right.
like Mean Girls that much.
Thanks.
I like
You're
you.
the best.
Does that count?
What?
I like you. Does that count?
Gory.
Does what count?
I said I like you and you're a mean girl. Does that count?
Oh.
I feel like kind of being part of Freaky Girls Live is like joining the Mean Girls table. Like, oh, what?
But we're nicer than the Mean
You can
Girls.
sit with us.
We're nicer than the Mean Girls.
What color
Come
do
on.
I have to wear?
Black.
And
Yeah.
what is it? On Saturdays we wear black?
Yep.
We're all wearing black right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Funny that.
aren't we all?
Okay, I
None
have
of us wear
drank.
color ever.
I have drank all of my alcohol. We have dissected season
Good
3.
job.
Does anybody have any final thoughts for this evening
I still
before
have
we
water.
wrap it up?
Nope. I don't, guys.
How do you guys
Well,
feel?
except the fact that I had a great time. I love always talking Buffy with you guys because you're the best. I love the chat for being here
Yeah.
and just hanging out with us and also talking about it with us. And I can't wait to do the next one.
Me too. This has been a lot of fun. And when we're done with Buffy, we're going to do Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll even do the comics. Do you guys think you can do that?
Yes,
I have a
absolutely.
couple of them. I have a couple of the Frey.
Did you know season 8 is a motion comic, so you can watch that one? It's like a cartoon.
It's true.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining me. I love hanging out with you two. I love your passion for Buffy. I love getting to nerd out with you guys. I just love getting real with you guys and talking about like why this show is so important to us, like on a personal level. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And thank you to the chat. Thank you to Michael Long and Brandon Meacham and Geek Out Cinema and Dice Roland and everybody who's been watching and hanging out with us and sharing your own personal stuff in the chat. Even if I don't respond to all of it, I am reading it. And yeah, it's just awesome that we're all sharing stuff and, you know, commiserating.
Sharing
and
is caring,
celebrating.
guys. Sharing
You
is
guys know I love you.
caring.
Queenie, anything you want to say?
Love everybody. Mwah. Thank you for giving this broken Slayer another chance.
All right, so I feel like we need like kind of like a secret handshake, but in reverse for what we call it a night on Slayer's Club. Like, what do we say when we end
Maybe
it?
we just.
Oh my god. We should come up with a.
Oh, we should do that. Ooh, ee.
Grr,
Grr,
arg.
arg! All right, on the count of 3, grr, arg, and then we go
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Grr,
Grr,